dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Do me a favor before we get started. Well, we've technically already started, but do me a favor. Please hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe and make sure you share the content. I was about to say continent. I mean content. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate all the support from you all over the years. It really means a lot. Again, it really means a lot. Before we dive in, like really dive in, have a couple of announcements. Announcement number 1 and 2. We are rolling to Nigeria. We are rolling to Nigeria August 4th through the 13th. August 4th through the 13th. If you're interested in joining us, please visit donfo.africa. Again, if you're interested in joining us, please visit donfo.africa. We are going to have an excellent time. An excellent time in Nigeria. No, it's not on the site yet, but I'm going to make sure it gets on there soon because I want to redesign it. Like I want to make the print like bigger. And this is the Donfo shirt. All right. This is the Donfo shirt, the No Food for Lazy Man. So I haven't officially wrote this out yet. Now, the group who came with me to Senegal, they all got a free shirt. I give a somewhat of a goodie bag to my guests. So the group coming to Nigeria, we're going to get custom white outfits made for the Oshun Festival. But the group who came to Senegal with me for the Jazz Festival, this past Jazz Festival, they all got the Donfo shirts. So the No Food for Lazy Man shirt. That's what they got. So yeah, but it's not on the site yet, but it's coming. It's not on the site yet, but it's coming. It's coming soon. So stay tuned. When I roll the shirts out, I'll make sure you guys are notified. So please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa to learn more about our trip, our tour to Nigeria for the Oshun Festival. We are also rolling to Benin Republic. Again, we are also rolling to Benin Republic for the Voodoo Festival. Again, please visit donfo.africa. That is January 3rd through the 12th. January 3rd through the 12th, we are rolling to Benin Republic for the Voodoo Festival. Please visit donfo.africa to learn more. Guys, please forgive me. I might seem a little lethargic, a little tired because I've been following the news cycle pretty much since the assassination attempt took place. yesterday. Again, I've been following the news cycle. I've been glued to the news ever since the assassination attempt took place this past news cycle. I want to give a disclaimer, okay, before we get started. Before we really get started and dive in, I'll put the link in the chat room here in the next, we'll say 30 minutes. I respect everybody's opinion. We're not going to agree on everything. All right. I am not a firm believer. I do not believe and support cancel culture. I think it's whack. You have the right to disagree with me when it comes to political views. That does not equal canceling you. I think that's just lame as hell. Okay, because we might not agree, Rokoya, but he was a Democratic donor. And me personally, Rokoya, I'm a registered Democrat. But the last couple of elections, I voted Republican. So it really doesn't mean anything. Again, it really doesn't mean anything. Once again, I do not support this idea of cancel culture. Let people speak their opinion. I'm all about good opinion. I'm all about good people. Being around good people. And I like to hear differing viewpoints. I love diversity in thought. That's just who I am. I don't want to just live in this echo chamber of you have to agree with everything I say. If you don't agree with everything that I say, hey, get out of here, cancel you, don't spend no money with him, don't support him, don't patronize. That's whack to me. And for some reason, Black people, we have become the faces when it comes the face of cancel culture when it comes to wanting to cancel people, which is just weird to me. And for the most part, we cancel our own. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're Green Party. I don't care if you're PDP, APC. You know, we're talking or SLPP. I don't care. It's your right to vote who you want. It's your right to vote for who you want to, and you should not be punished for that. And it's weird. I don't know why. It's just weird why people who disagree with you want to enact harm and punish you. Doesn't make any sense to me. But there was an assassination attempt yesterday on Donald J. Trump. And rest in peace to there was a victim, an innocent bystander who was killed. Rest in peace to that individual who was killed, who was murdered in the crossfire. And we'll get into what I call Negro conspiracy theories, because now it was staged. Here comes the Negro conspiracy theories. Everybody now is a trained sniper. They're now ballistics experts now, and we'll get into that. But this is what's interesting. And let's go back to 2015, okay? 2015, yeah, everybody's a trained sniper expert. They're now all American sniper. They know the wind trajectory. Oh, it clipped his ear, so it's staged and it's not real. But what about the man that was killed in front of his family? If it's if this is not real, what about the man who killed his family? And then if you want to go there, was George Floyd a crisis actor? In Chicago, are those all crisis actors? So let's listen. Somebody lost their life. The shooter was killed, which he should have been put down. And then another man lost his life in front of his family. In front of his family, his wife and 2 kids. So prayers up to them. But I mean, ever since 2015, since Trump decided that he was going to run for office. Before 2015, even with the Central Park Five, even with the discrimination lawsuits, the Black community had no problem with Trump. People had no problem with Trump. Trump was still welcome to the cookout. People weren't calling him racist. Civil rights leaders were getting money from him. He was cool. All of a sudden, he runs for office. He's a white supremacist. He gets in office. It's Russia collusion. He gets impeached, indicted, convicted, and they can't stop this guy. I mean, listen, guys, really listen. Everything they throw at Trump, they can't stop the guy. Again, everything they throw at Trump. I mean, let's look at it, man. Let's just put the emotions to the side. Let's put the, feelings to the side. Everything they throw at Trump. Russia collusion, the indictments, hush money case, which is probably going to get, I don't know if it's going to get thrown out, but it's not looking too good because of the Supreme Court ruling in regards to presidential immunity. Like, they can't stop the guy. And now you have an attempted assassination attempt. He's still alive. Well, Juan, like I said, I'm a registered Democrat and I'm voting Republican. So, I mean, that really doesn't, it's whatever. That really doesn't mean anything. And the guy that tried to kill him donated to, was it Act Blue? So, And then you have the Lincoln Project, which are former Republicans who are registered Republicans who don't like Donald Trump and actually endorse Joe Biden. So, like I said, it's interesting, but we'll find out more. Like why? I just want to know, why are people so polarized by Trump? Yeah, I'm a registered Democrat. Why are people so polarized by Trump? Outside of his Twitter fingers. Now he needs to calm down on Twitter, which he has. But it's just they're throwing everything at this guy and they can't stop him. So, okay, guys, so I'm going to do another show, right? I'm going to entitle it Your Favorite Pan-African. Martin Delaney being one of them, was a Republican. Actually, he was a Republican and a Democrat. Booker T. Washington was a Republican. So this idea, because I'm reading the comments in the chat room. This idea that you can't be Pan-African if you're participating in US elections, it's goofy. It's idiotic. Right, and Marcus Garvey looked up to Booker T. Washington. In fact, Marcus Garvey was supposed to link up with Booker T. Washington, but I believe Booker T. Washington passed away like maybe a week or a month before Marcus Garvey came to the US. I believe something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So is Martin Delany not a true Pan-African? Is Booker T. Washington, are they not true Pan-Africans? See, a lot of these, man, these new age Pan-Africans are just weird and awkward. But that's another show. That's a whole nother show. But they can't stop. They can't stop the guy. And what's interesting about but the photo. Yeah, this photo, this is you can say what you want. Doesn't matter how you feel about the guy. The world is different. No, it's you have to participate. See, this is the Pan-Africans don't understand. Whether it's here in America or in Africa, you're going to have to participate in politics. And that's why our most important and successful Pan-Africans were able to move the needle forward and advance the agenda is because they didn't lock themselves out of politics. Martin Delany, Booker T. Washington, these people engaged in politics. You guys are the ones with this goofy, we're in a different time now, and therefore you shouldn't participate in politics. That just doesn't make sense. And so the question is now, what are Pan-Africans actually doing now compared, and there are that are doing the work, but compared to Booker T. Washington or Martin Delany? That's why it's hustling backwards. But anyways, let me get back to my thought. This photo, I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. He got the mugshot. He got the mugshot. Rally around the mugshot. He gets convicted. Ratings go up. He now has this photo. Hold on, let me pull this photo up. Guys, we got to pull up this photo. Hold on one second. Let me go here. Here we go. Let me see if I can enlarge this. I'm just gonna pull it up on my Canvas site. Let me do this. This photo right here. Don't care how you feel about the guy. This is one of the most iconic photos of the 21st century. I don't care how you feel about the guy. And so people are like, this is staged. Why weren't people running? Why weren't people doing this, doing that? Why weren't people scrambling when the gunshots were going off? See, black folks in the hood are so used to Pookie and Ray Ray, emotional Pookie and Ray Ray, and women. So you have women and you have effeminized men popping off shots. That they don't know how to act, they run, they scramble. You know, let me give you a story. I live in Atlanta, and a kid was on a bicycle, and was hit by a car. The kid ended up being okay. Again, the kid ended up being okay. So the kid gets hit by the car. You know, I come out my house, and his family members. First are the men. And instead of rendering aid to the child, the men are like, oh, shawty, shawty. Oh my God. I mean, it was chaos. Come on, shawty. Oh no, they didn't hear the shawty. Oh my God. I mean, and so the men are running around in circles. The women are screaming and yelling. Then me and a white woman walk up. You make sure the child's okay. We call 911. Ambulance comes, takes her to the hospital. She's fine. But what I'm saying is, like, the men were just yelling and screaming, oh, nah, shawty. She didn't got hit by a car, shawty. They didn't get hit by a car, shawty. I'm just like, oh, man. Like, they don't know, no aid. No, let's check on a child. Man, shawty, they hit the car, they hit a shawty. Shawty, the car, they hit a shawty. And so we're so used to that in other parts of the world, some people, gunshots go off. You're in a crowded room. You remain calm. You be a man. You duck you duck for cover or whatever. And that's all you can do. Oh, Larry, I'm dead serious. I'm not making this up. Like, the child got hit by a car. Her family members were in the middle of the street, running around in circles from corner to corner on the phone, shouting, man, got hit by a car, shouting. I'm just like, so me, a white woman, you know, admits aid or whatever. The kid was fine. The kid was conscious. Ambulance comes. And that's my point. The men are feminine in a lot of our communities. So a lot of people don't understand that in some communities, if something happens, shooting happens, some people, like, you can't overreact. You duck for cover, get to safety, and remain calm. You don't run in circles, yelling shawty. But this is a true story. In fact, this is what we're used to. Hold on one second. Let me you know, I'm just saying. So that's one of the conspiracy theories. But I find it very odd. Shawty. Oh, she got here, shawty. She's like, oh my God. They didn't hear the shawty. They didn't hear the shawty. She got here, shawty. So that's what we're used to seeing. But I find it very interesting that the people who think this is a conspiracy theory, they believe Russia collusion. They believe, they still believe that, what's the guy's name? Guys, help me out. The guy that they claim crossed state lines with a gun. What was his name? Rittenhouse. They still believe that Rittenhouse crossed the state lines with a gun, which illegally, which has been debunked. They believe that Nipsey Hussle was murdered because he was this real estate tycoon and the government didn't want him to buy the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson. The same conspiracy theorists that think this was staged, they believe that Bill Cosby was set up because he was about to buy NBC. They still believe the whole Charlottesville situation where that was debunked, where they claimed that Trump said both sides or whatever. When you listen to the whole speech, that was debunked. They were supporting Fannie Willis after she has completely embarrassed herself and made sisters look bad. What else? What other conspiracy theories that these folks believe that thinks this is not real? There's a number of other conspiracy theories that, if you notice, the people who are pushing that this was staged and that these were crisis actors and that this wasn't real, guys, hit the like button. Listen, I need you guys to hit the like button right now. All right. If you have not hit that like button, hit that like button and support the channel. Oh yeah, they're scared shitless of Project 2025. I mean, these folks want to come outside. I mean, Project 2025 lives in their pillowcases at night. Here we go. Here we go. Why do you believe it was a stage? See, this is what I'm talking about. Innocent man. If these folks came out and said that George Floyd was a crisis actor, y'all will lose it. Again, he disavowed Project 2025 and he has Agenda 47 on his website. I mean, he's already disavowed it. It's just Black people have became worse than Alex Jones. Black people like feed off of conspiracy theories and paranoia. And it's sad, man. It's really sad. Guys, hit the like button. We feed off of conspiracy theories and paranoia. You have grown ass, big back, grown, bearded Black men in 2024 who still think that if the Republicans win and Trump wins, they're going to put them on plantations. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. What's Biden talking about? We've outdone Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura. We're now thinking we're Indians, Hebrews, Native Americans. You can't sleep at night because of Project 2025. I never said that. I never said Democrats tried to assassinate Trump. I never said that. But I would say they've been pushing a lot of rhetoric. They've been pushing a lot of rhetoric. Mainstream media, the left, has been pushing a lot of violent rhetoric towards Donald Trump. I would say that. Now, that's a fact. But you have grown men who are supposed to be the pillars of the black community here in America who believe that they're going to be put back in chains and will look at you and say with a straight face, this is what we're dealing with. Guys, hit the like button. Please hit that like button. So to say it was staged, it's just it's idiotic, it's crazy. I don't care which side you're on. It's ridiculous. And for the black people who are mad that the bullet missed or just hit his ear or whatever and didn't take him out. For the black people who are mad that the bullet didn't end Donald Trump. If a civil war were to start, and this is for you, ADOS, FBA, we fought in every war. We built this country. If a civil war was to pop off, because I'm telling you, if Trump was to be assassinated, it was going to pop off. You guys would be the first one running for the hills. You guys will be the first ones running for the hills if something were to pop off, like for real, for real. Man, they missed their target, man. They missed their target, man. Okay, they say they hit the target and it was the pop off. Y'all would be running for the hills. Period. Chris, I need proof of that. Oh, I'm out. Listen, I'm out. I'm out. So we don't want that. Let's be fair. Let's play nice. Guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in, please click on the link. If you want to call in, please. Nah, they would be calling for the police and National Guard to protect them. But these folks want to defund the police. These folks want to defund the police. These folks want gun control. These folks want people to take away their guns. That's what they vote for. Yeah, it's the reality. Mexicano, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Mexican. So I'm sorry, Dynast. First thing I want to do is I want to address the haters, and I'm going to preface it by saying, sharing a little anecdote. I personally detest crocodilian species. They have no business being in our modern era. They are, dinosaur era beasts. However, you still have to respect the ferocity of them. So if you are a Trump hater, you have to respect the poise with which he handled getting shot at and getting hit and having the temerity to pump his fist on his way out to the motorcade, not knowing the real gravity of his injuries and not knowing if there is going to be more fire incoming. I mean, you have to respect that. That was a beast mode moment for American history. And with that, I'd like to, whoever else wants to chime in, please, I want to hear what everyone else has to say as well.
Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, thank you, Dennis, and hello to the panel. Look, I'm really glad former President Trump wasn't seriously injured, and I think our political differences should never be settled with violence. And having said that, let me say this: the Democratic Party has suffered more political violence than any other political party in the history of this country. You had a person who was in a similar position like Donald Trump, RFK, who was I think he just came from the convention. He was just nominated. He
Mhm.
was shot and killed
Okay.
by Sirhan Sirhan. You had John F. Kennedy, his brother, who was a very popular Democratic president, was brutally killed in public. His brains was blown all the way off. He was killed.
Mhm.
So when
Who,
we're talking
who,
about,
so who
hold
killed?
on, hold on, Dinus, don't make this a big issue.
And don't forget Abraham Lincoln, who's a Republican. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can say Lincoln, but he
But
was
what?
killed. What? That's what I'm saying. You forget there was a party switch, and in today,
That's been debunked.
no, it hasn't.
That's
You
been,
have
but
to
that's
read
neither here
about.
nor there. But let's just
Yeah,
deal off the
that's what I'm
facts.
saying. If you bring that up, it's gonna go down a
But
rabbit
like I
hole.
said, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. That
Yeah,
was
he was a
probably
Republican,
right.
you know. So I'll leave it
Ronald,
there.
Ronald Reagan was a Republican. He was shot too. Go ahead.
Right, but he
Yeah,
wasn't assassinated.
but he was
So
shot. And,
yeah, but he wasn't assassinated. So let me
yeah,
say this.
go ahead.
You know, assassination attempts have been made on the past four presidents. You know, Obama had a few.
Also, let me interject. I got to interject. You have William McKinley as well, Republican, was assassinated. Go ahead, keep going.
Right.
Right.
Obama
Okay.
had a few assassination attempts. Uh, Trump had I don't know, maybe a couple. I think I saw one at his rally
George
in
Bush did too.
2020.
George Bush
Yeah,
did too.
that's what I said. I said all the presidents has had assassination
No, but
attempts.
I think it was disingenuous. You said that Democrats have endured more assassinations. I just gave you two Republican presidents who were assassinated.
Right, and I gave you two Democratic president, one Democratic president, and another nominee who was
Right.
assassinated
Right. But
in
again,
more. In hold on, in
no,
more
no, no. It's my
contemporary
show.
times.
It's my show. It's my show again.
See, now
You
you're getting
said
emotional, Dynasty. You want to spur this
I'm not getting
narrative
emotional. I'm not getting
that
emotional.
it's the
I'm not getting.
Democrats.
Let me go ahead and mute you. I'm not getting emotional. What I'm saying is, you made a statement that the Democrats have been affected more by assassinations, but I just proved to you that there was actually two presidents who were Republican who were assassinated. That's all. Go ahead.
Fine, Dynasty. My point here is I condemn the violence, and I wanted to disagree with the point that you made that if Trump would have got seriously hurt or God forbid killed, there would have been a civil war. And I was giving you that example because Kennedy and RFK happened, I think, in the 60s, late 60s or so. And there was no civil war. People protested. There was hurt, but there was no civil war.
Can
And usually these things happen from within the party. Like there's it hasn't been confirmed, but the rumor coming out, like what happened to RFK, I think Sirhan was disappointed about him saying that he would send planes down to Israel and whatever to support Israel. And I think he was like a Sikh or something, and he was against wars and things like that. So usually when people feel betrayed by their political
And
party,
real quick, Elvis, if I could jump in again. So another president who was a Republican that had two assassination attempts was Gerald Ford. But keep going.
yeah, you're making those points, and I made my points. I said every president has had assassination attempts,
Again,
including
no,
Obama, including Bush, including all the other presidents.
Elvis. Again, your original point, I'm just correcting you, was that Democratic presidents have endured more when it comes to assassinations. That's what you said. If people on this panel, did I misunderstand? Mexican Condor, did I misunderstand them? Mexican
Yes,
Condor?
I said
yeah,
that, Dynasty.
Okay, so I'm just correcting you. That's
Right.
all. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're correcting me, but I said that,
and to add
and
some really important context here, because RFK is still running for president. Except
no,
it's
no, his son is
yes,
running for president.
yes. Well, he has the same
His
initials.
father, his father was killed
Yeah, I
and
understand.
assassinated.
I understand that, but I want to add some important context here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has made repeated requests of the Biden White House to have Secret Service protection, and he has been repeatedly. Does read between the what does that imply to me? That means they're okay.
No, you have to hit the threshold.
Elvis, and then Elvis. I'm gonna have to move the mic, Elvis, because Theodore Roosevelt was another Republican president that endured. He was actually shot. So I got to move the mic now, Elvis. Go ahead, Most. Let me pass it to Mostly. Go ahead.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Go ahead.
So I want to just discuss, like, this whole Project 25 thing. A lot of people believe Trump is gonna, impose that on the people, and I'm like, what about Congress? Because no law can originate with the president. It would have to go to the House, and then there's checks and balances in place in order to like prevent the president from a dictatorship, essentially. So when people panic about Project 25, I'm like, okay, but there's walls that he would have to break down in order for that to, come to being. And the Senate, which is on his side, he can appoint judges and everything like that to be on his side, but at the end of the day, like, each house, whether it's the Senate or the House of Representatives, they need 2/3 of a vote in order to get a law, policy, or regulation passed. So he can't operate outside of the Constitution. So I think a lot of people aren't understanding the Constitution and how it works. So does
Um,
anybody have
I think
any input
yes,
on that?
I think you're misreading what Project 2025 is. What you're saying is absolutely right, but what
Mhm.
you're not realizing that he's going to get rid of already. The Supreme Court is already conservative. They already is saying that they exonerated him. That the president has exonerated.
Kofi, if I can interject, when you say he's going to get rid, who are you speaking of?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You said something about he's going to get rid of. Who is he? Or did I misunderstand you?
Donald Trump, Project 2025, the
Oh, right,
next
right. So
next
he's already,
Republican
no,
president.
Kofi, you're not gonna talk over me, Kofi. So he's already disavowed it, and he has Agenda 47 on his side.
Okay, yeah, he disavowed it. That's nice. He
Okay,
disavowed it, but
Kofi,
wow.
let's move on. He disavowed it. Like we got to stop being
Okay,
so paranoid and scared, Kofi. Like it's just black men are so freaking soft in America.
you're
Like
not letting me talk. Like,
but we are
But
softish. We're soft as hell in America. It's so embarrassing. He disavowed it. He has Agenda 47 on his site. I mean, you have the Lincoln Project. I mean, every party or think tank or groups, they have their own agendas. Project 2025 is one of many. But go ahead. But Kofi, it wasn't even your turn yet. Let me pass it to Delroy. Then we'll pass it back to you. Go ahead, Delroy. Oh, in fact, I'm sorry. Mosi, are you done? Mosi, are you done?
um, I just want to talk a little bit, how the federal government can override, the states as far as constitution wise. Like, if they had a case, they can bring it to if a state had a case and somebody won, they could bring it to the Supreme Court and also be tried again. That's the only way that I see, like, President Trump having power over over everybody, over the United States, is if he aligns with the judicial system. But as far as like laws and policies in place, like, it needs to go through Congress. And I just want black men, black women, whoever, just to understand the Constitution and how it works instead of just like panicking. That's all I need to say.
All right, let me pass it to Delroy, then I'll pass it back to you, Kofi. Go ahead, Delroy.
Mhm.
Delroy, unmute yourself, Delroy. Okay, go ahead, Kofi. Unmute yourself.
yeah, Trump already said he wants to get rid of the Constitution and is going to be a dictator for more than a day, as responding to the last caller that was there. And as far as Project 2025, he is right. Like, as far as the checks and balances that are there, yes, it's hard to do that. But when you read further into Project 2025, he's putting loyalists there. That's unprecedented, right? You could put your head of your DOJ, you could change your head of the FBI, you could do that, right, as figureheads. But what they're doing is saying what they're going to do, they're going to gut it, like take everybody out of those departments and put loyalists. Because the first time that they did it, we all know Trump historically changed more DOJs than any other president. Keep firing him because he thinks the DOJ is supposed to work for him instead of the American people. So what Project 2025 is doing, and what they're going to do this time, they say, okay, we got to revamp all of these departments. The Supreme Court is already a conservative court. right? So to answer your question there, they're going to pass things. They say like Trump has immunity. So I mean, what you guys been not you guys specifically, but what a lot of right wingers are saying is like, oh, it's Antifa, it's Biden, and Biden ordered a hit. People like JD Vance. So
Kofi, can I ask you a question? Did Trump
sure.
endorse Project 2025?
No, the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative group, endorsed it. Yes.
I asked you a question. Did Trump
and I answered you.
Did he himself endorse 2020 Project 2025?
No, he didn't. But it was a Republican thing.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, and Donald Trump. Now that we're on that, glad you brought that up. That Donald Trump said that he doesn't know anything about the Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, but he spoke of the Heritage Foundation several times. So again, he lied, but we all know that. But the reason why I called on here also is that we now know, right, that the shooter was obviously your typical violent shooter, which is a white male, right, and he's a Republican. So all this QAnon MAGA conspiracy is kind of like debunked. It's been thrown out the window now, right? So my question,
what conspiracy? What conspiracy?
Well, I heard from certain right wingers that's saying like JD Vance and right wing pundits saying that Biden ordered the hit or was Antifa or was the far.
Can you put that link in the chat where JD Vance said that Biden ordered the hit? Can you put that in the chat room?
It was JD Vance or someone that's on the right. It was a Twitter. It was a Twitter post.
Kofi, put the link in the chat room to where JD.
Okay, when I'm done, yes. When I'm done talking, yeah, I'll put the link in the chat.
Okay.
No problem.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was all these conspiracy theories about who shot President Trump, and I find it comical because I'm a type of person.
But like you said, it's coming from JD Vance. So I just need to see where JD Vance said that. Go ahead, Kofi.
Yeah, JD Vance or any right winger. So
no, you said JD Vance, so I need to see.
Yes, I said JD Vance, or I said I wasn't too sure, but I know that's why I said right winger.
You're never too sure, but go ahead.
Yes, I'm never too sure because I'm a thinking person.
Emotional, babbling, black left.
Dinah, this is not like you, my friend.
Who just did an ad hominem attack.
I'm just saying, just put the link in the chat.
I'm just saying you're being a hypocrite. Because you did an ad hominem attack. I did not attack you. Now you say I'm a liberal, I'm this, and all these other things. But that's okay.
Come on, man.
Deflection. You're doing deflection, but it's okay. You're MAGA. It's okay. I'm telling the truth, and you're in your feelings. I get it. So basically, all I want to ask the panel is that how do you feel that the person is a Republican, right? 20, 21 years old. Don't
be too sure about that, Kofi, because that could be debunked. Because if we say it and it comes back and it, because that document looked kind of, Photoshop. So he could actually be a Democrat or independent. Don't be so sure about it.
Well, it doesn't matter if he's a Republican.
How is this? So you're saying like, how is it Photoshop? This is records that they got. Hold
on 1 second, Kofi. Like I said, I'm a registered Democrat. I voted Republican last 2 elections. But also too, Kofi, what you have to understand, he also donated to Act Blue as well. So, but go ahead, Kofi.
I didn't hear that, but again, this guy, kid is 20.
I could pull that up though. I got.
Okay, cool. So remember, he's a young kid, so he registered. So this is 2 years ago. So it's not something that he just did, right? So anyone that voted in the last election, saying we're talking a little while ago. We're not talking like something that happened just now. So to again try to do this conspiracy theory, like I don't know about the document and I don't know about this and all about that, is disingenuous speculation in my view. As of right now, because I'm just waiting for one information that comes in. I think the question is, why is this young white male that is registered as a Republican affiliated with militia groups, obviously like regular far extreme right wingers? Why would he try to shoot Donald Trump? That's what I would like to understand.
And affiliated with the left.
I made a point.
According to you.
Well, okay, let me go ahead and pull that up. But
usually.
Do not pull up Breitbart or Fox News. They're illegitimate.
I'm not. But let me allow Delroy to respond because he was actually before you, but he had his mic off. Go ahead, Delroy.
Yeah. Hey, how you guys doing? I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know. What everybody think an assassin is, but this was just a snot nosed kid with a rifle. That's all he was. He was not an assassin. Would not have missed, not from that short distance. That's an easy hit. All right. So assassin, forget about it. Biden already hit. All that is bullshit. All right. And me also is a registered Democrat. I will never change as a registered Democrat. But I hardly vote Democrat, so that's not a big deal either. And the last thing I want to say is people saw the dude climbing up the building, and they were telling the police right next, hey, there's a dude on the roof with a rifle. How come nobody responded to it? That's the part I don't get. Right. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, let me play this loose clip for you guys real quick.
Step out of the way pretty soon so you can see exactly what it looks like here in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. This is a suburb of Pittsburgh, and this is where we are, about a quarter mile or so from the suspected shooter's home. And this whole neighborhood essentially is locked down from all sides. As my photographer takes a zoom into the police cars that are down the hill from where we are, we're told that the suspected shooter's home is just to the right of that stop sign. I'm not sure if you can make that out, and around the corner. So that's really as close as anyone can get to the residence of Thomas Matthew Crooks, that 20-year-old suspected shooter. Neighbors had been describing to us in the past several hours, especially last night, there were homes here that were evacuated. There was some kind of bomb scare. So this really is impacting the entire neighborhood when federal officials, the FBI, and local police showed up at the Crooks home here. We have also been learning over the last few hours new information about that suspected shooter. The AP now reporting that two law enforcement officials are telling them that they believe that the suspect's father potentially purchased that weapon, an AR-style weapon that the shooter is suspected to have used to shoot former President Trump and those other people at his rally last night. What we also know about this 20-year-old suspected shooter, he apparently graduated in 2022 from Bethel Park High School. That is a public school in this area. We have some video of him that the school posted to a page that they often share, graduations, major events, athletic events, of him walking across the stage to some applause and getting his diploma from what appears to be a school official. That was just several years ago. We also know, according to voting records here in Pennsylvania, that he is a registered Republican. Yet on Inauguration Day, President Biden's Inauguration Day in 2021, he, according to FEC records, donated $15 to Act Blue, which is an online Democratic fundraising platform. That donation was earmarked for a progressive voter turnout project. So,
Okay, so there we go. Okay, all right. Let me
Dan, hold on. But did you understand what I just said? He was spotted on the roof with a rifle.
right.
How come I don't
But
understand?
that's not unusual, Daroy. Usually, you have snipers and other Secret Service agent who will be on the roof to protect the
No,
president. So maybe people got confused in the moment.
no, I don't. I know it's not unusual, but he was spotted, right? And police was told that there's a dude climbing up on the roof of the rifle. How come no one paid not even a
That's what
little
I'm
bit of
saying. You got to go through the chains of command. Police is not Secret Service, so you gotta go talk to the Secret Service. They got to check with this person to make sure that person is fine. So it's a whole checklist that has to go through before they can go up there and ascertain who he is. So
they
maybe that's what it was. It probably just happened too fast.
give them pay like a little bit of attention to it. That's what I'm saying.
Guys, okay, here, yeah, I'm bringing Kobe back on. But let me pass it to go ahead, Alan, and I'll pass it to Blood Boy after you. Then
Yeah.
America.
I just wanted to say, first of all, I give my condolences to the families of the firefighter who was shot in front of his family. That's terrible. I think people are forgetting that there are other people who are affected by this, and it makes it impossible for this to have been a staged event. Second thing I want to say is the celebrities and the people out there saying that this is a staged event are completely irresponsible. Chief amongst them being Amanda Seals, out there spreading this nonsense that this was all fake, and unfortunately, there's a sizable group of people in our community who listen to her, and so that's what I blame a lot of the stupid conspiracy theories on her, to be honest. Thirdly, this was an assassination attempt. All it needs to be for it to be assassination attempt is someone trying to take the life of the president. That's clearly what he was trying to do. He was 400 feet away, so that is a difficult shot, and he came very close to succeeding. So we need to rethink the type of security, how somebody's allowed to climb on top of a roof, and people pointing it out, and nothing was done about it. They need to, unfortunately, Secret Service stuff is going to have to get even tighter. And anybody who's experienced Secret Service, as I do down here in the DMV area, they're tight already, but it's going to be even tighter. And then the last thing I wanted to say was that that it doesn't matter what party this guy comes from, because there are elements within the Republican Party who are never Trumpers as well. And so, Donald Trump has not only been fighting against the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, he's been fighting against elements within the Republican Party. So it's what party it is, and arguing about that is not the main thing that we should be focused on. What we should be focused on is the rhetoric that caused this. And part of the rhetoric are the lies that are being told about Project 2025. Now, I'm a registered independent, but I understand what 2025 is, and what it is simply a plan of action set forth by the Heritage Foundation to lay out their agenda, lay out their goals, and to attract new people to come in and execute those goals and those plans. Anybody who represents anything other than that either doesn't know what they're talking about, or they're being willfully ignorant, trying to spread lies and propaganda about what it is. Trump is not subscribed to it, but the people within his administration, many of them are the ones who worked for the Heritage Foundation and helped write it. So yes, it will have an effect, but what did you expect when you have a Republican administration? The Heritage Foundation's had that type of influence on the Republicans for at least 50 years now. So there's nothing new and nothing radical. It's just a manipulation set up by the media, mainstream media, to get people fearful and try to turn the tide that is going all Trump's way. That's all it is.
That's a lie. Because he was on the debate stage speaking about the Heritage Foundation, co-signing with the people of the Heritage Foundation. So this disingenuous question of Dinah saying, do they fund it? It's like, that has nothing to do with it. Trying to muddy up the water.
You just said what I said was a lie. What I said that was a lie.
Can I intervene for a second?
Hold
on. What, Mike? Go for you. What do you lie about?
What I lie about?
No, I'm saying you trying to muddy up the waters of saying that if Donald Trump didn't raise money for it or affiliated with it in some way, like if he didn't raise money for it, that he has no affiliation with it.
What? There's the Heritage Foundation. Then within the Heritage Foundation, there's Project 2025.
Correct.
So
exactly.
Right. So Donald Trump has disavowed Project 2025.
That's a lie.
Dinus, let me give you an example real quick.
That's a lie.
No. Let me pull it up, God. Okay, so first of all, I'll put it up. Kofi, did you listen?
So which is the real Donald Trump? The Donald Trump who disavowed it, or the Donald Trump who co-signed it? Which Donald Trump are we talking about?
Hold on, one mic, Kofi. Did you listen? Did you hear the news clip that I played?
Yes, I heard the news clip that you played. Yeah.
Okay, so we can move on from that. So he's
he's also part of a militia group too. And he's still a registered Republican. So let's move on.
But again, when I said that he donated and supported the left, you didn't believe me. Then I played the news clip. So are we clear on that?
The young man's 20 years old.
Yes, I'm clear on that. Unlike you, I can admit when I'm wrong, because you've been wrong dozens of times and I proved it on my channel. But at this time, you got one on me, right? Okay. But he's still registered as a Republican, a part of a right-wing militia group. Go ahead.
Let's not forget The
Can I intervene
Federalist,
for a second?
hold on one second, please. The Federalist Society, they had a plan to overturn Roe v. Wade for the longest time in affirmative action. And when Donald Trump was asked about it, he said no, he's not in favor of it. But he elected judges that was in favor of it, and they overturned it. So just denying it now does not mean you won't take actions to implement some of those policies. So let's just get that
Correct.
straight.
Okay,
You're absolutely correct.
so Trump disavows Project 2025 is everywhere. So he disavowed it.
Again, even if what you're saying is right, which is the real Trump, he disavowing it now because
Okay,
people are
but
looking into it,
but we
but
got
he
to.
co-signed it. So
But
Can I
he's changing his position.
but we have to.
listen?
Okay, so we have to deal. So you have the Heritage Foundation and you have Project 2025. He disavowed Project 2025. Are we clear?
I don't know how you try to say that the two things are separate. It's like saying you have
The two
water,
things
then you got wet things.
Kofi
Water
is
is wet.
fine. He disavowed it. Yes, he disavowed it. But if he gets elected, let's see if some of those policies will be implemented.
Exactly.
That's the
That's
proof in the
it.
pudding.
I agree. You're absolutely right.
It can be because I can agree with an organization, but certain policies within that organization I could disagree with.
Yes, but you lied.
Okay.
He pivoted. He pivoted.
Your
First he
actions
said he
speak
was with it,
louder than your
then he
words,
lied.
Donnie.
Just
Your
like Roe
actions
v.
speak louder than
Wade.
your words.
Exactly.
How
Exactly.
he disavowed Project 2025.
You just believe everything Trump says, even when he's pivoting. That's all that's what you're doing
He's
right
trying to
now.
Well,
incorporate
Trump,
certain
That's all that
things.
you're doing.
what could be?
Trump is
Trump's
like your
Project
Jesus. Like, well,
2025
what you said this, so it's true.
We gotta move on. Go, Alan. Are you done, Alan?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the only thing I wanted to add to that was that, Trump is not the brain trust of the Republican Party. The Heritage Foundation is more of the people behind the scenes who are the brain trust, and there are many people within his administration who helped write Project 2025. So yes, Trump, to his knowledge, is not really into Project 2025, but just best believe that when Trump gets elected, and it's inevitable at this point, especially after this, you're going to see certain things from Project 2025 within his administration, as well there should be. The problem is that the Democrats do not have a plan, do not have a Project 2025, and that's the reason why we've run candidates from the 1980s 3 elections in a row.
All right, real quick. Then I'm gonna pass it to. So I got to go in order. So I'm gonna pass it to Blebo. Then I'm gonna pass it to you, just so Latin American. Did you know that the idea of Obamacare came from the Heritage Foundation?
Yeah, it was a Republican idea first.
Yeah. So Kofi. So is that okay, Kofi?
Yeah. Rudy Giuliani, when he ran for president, ran on having universal health care and people paying for it just like they do car insurance. It was essentially Obamacare. Mitt Romney had something very similar to Obamacare going on in Massachusetts. That was a Republican idea.
No, that was before. That was before. So Obama copied from Mitt Romney what he had in Massachusetts.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Yes, the Republicans had the idea first.
Yeah, and party chairs policies all the time, so there's nothing new there. If it works for the people, they can steal it.
I got you, but the Republicans did it first. And it came from the think tank called the Heritage Foundation.
Right. So
the Heritage Foundation. Why are y'all so scared of the Heritage Foundation?
Let me pass it. Let me go in order. But Kofi, you do realize that Obamacare the idea came from the Heritage Foundation. Are you aware of that, Kofi?
I'll need to know that for myself before I say yay or no.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead, Blebo.
Hey, what's going on, Dinah? I'm not gonna be on here spitballing. What are we gonna do after this election? Because I'm like Dinah's. It get crazy around here. I got a real estate agent on speed dial. I'm getting the fuck out of here because I'm not doing this fighting. Because I'm in Texas, bro. So I talk to Trump supporters all the time, every day. And the deal with them is if they don't get Trump in office or when Trump gets in office, liberals in trouble. Liberals, minorities, and other folks like immigrants, they're in trouble. And I'm not saying that a lot of people it's going to be mass riots and all that. Now, if he don't get in office, yeah, it's going to be some shit. If he don't get in office, it's going to be some shit with the government. Either way, This shit get crazy. I'm out of here. Now I want to know what are y'all plans to do when all this shit, when all this political crap hit the fan? Because it's gonna hit the fan one
Well,
way or another.
Well, most definitely
hold
not
on,
be a coward as
hold
a
on,
man and
hold
run
on,
away.
hold on. Level me, I'm business as usual. That's how I'm operating. Business as usual.
Say that
I'm
again, brother.
here. Business as usual.
Yes, because my plans were to go to Africa anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it'll be real quick.
Well,
And I'm
Blubbo,
not
have you
talking about now. Wait, hold up. I'm not talking about. Hold up, brother.
Blubbo?
Hold
You
up.
ain't gonna talk with me, Blubbo. You ain't gonna talk. Have you been to Africa yet?
I've been to Ghana.
Okay. How often? When's the last time you been?
Ah, shit. That was before the pandemic.
Was that the first and last time?
That was the first and last time. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, black people, we can't be so reactionary. Like
No, 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 no.
I would say that bridge should have been built and developed and nurtured and in place well before. It shouldn't be dependent on Trump. Like
No,
I had and
no,
then I'm
no,
gonna
no. Wait a minute. Hold up now. Hold up. I said I would put it on speed. I will speed it up. I'm not saying that my plan has changed because of Trump. My plan was this before Trump. Trump just made it. It wasn't even Trump. It's the supporters of Trump. You know, because that makes me in the line of business that I'm in. You know, I own my own business, so the line of business that I'm in, I deal with. I go to people's homes.
Okay.
You
What do
know
you
what I'm
do?
saying?
What do you
And
do? What do you do?
I'm a
What do you
home
do?
inspector. I'm a home inspector, and I'm a
Okay.
claim adjuster.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm dealing with Trump supporters every day. You
Okay.
know, and these questions
I
come up.
listen.
Wait a minute.
I dealt with them every day when I did sales here in. So my territory was South Atlanta. Well, not even South Atlanta, like southern
Yeah.
up 85. You know, Noonan, Peachtree City, and I had no problem with them.
No, I didn't say I had a problem. I said I had having conversations with them about
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to do. They're telling me this. I'm not asking questions about that. They're telling me what's going to happen. They feel comfortable. You know, I'm a salesman. Shit, they feel comfortable talking to me. So if you,
That's your black warning. They give you a nigga warning. That's what it sounds like, brother.
yeah, I know that, and that's why I talk to them. I need to know what the hell is on their mind because I so much of
Donis, you
what.
gotta let me respond to this, man, because
Yeah,
I'm
but
in Texas too.
T, I gotta pass it to Ditso first, and I'll pass it to you because he
Okay,
just
appreciate it.
go up level.
Oh yeah. So, but it's not the fact that I'm what is it? I'm running because I'm be back and forth. My business still here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm be back and forth. I'm just establishing something, and hey, my I got family members who say, hey man, you know I want to go and stay. So hey, you can come and buy enough land. You can come and stay on the property. But the deal is with this man, I don't get into who you voted for. I really don't give a fuck. I want to know what you're gonna do after this election, because this whole country is gonna change after this election, bro. It's gonna be a slow change, because this is gonna change for the worse or the better. We can't stay still where we at without something blowing the fuck up. So
I I
it's gonna happen.
I'll disagree with that. There was 8 million more people that
Well,
voted Democrats in the last election. 8 million more.
Hold on, Elvis. So Blebo, so Blebo, what specifically did they tell you? Let me pass it to Ditso Latin America.
They said that once if Trump don't get in, you better not be on the other side. That's what I heard from three people from three different sources.
And Blebo, what did the in 2016 when Trump was elected, what did the left say when Trump won?
I
And
don't
and
give. I don't
and
listen, dude.
dude,
I
What
don't
and
give
dude,
a fuck.
aboutism? What aboutism?
I don't get.
and
Listen,
dude,
listen,
and
listen.
not
Wait a
what
minute, hold on. I
ain't no
don't
what
care. Listen,
about.
I don't care about what
Ain't no what about.
Democrats
What did they
are not.
do?
Democrats aren't as armed and as vigilant as Republican or MAGA supporters. They're not. So they're not going to
So
do. They
he
can
just
say what the
ignored the
fuck
whole
they
of
want
Black
to say.
Lives Matter riots, y'all. He's
They're not
ignoring
Y'all
going to
Black
just
say
Lives
what they
Matter
ignoring
want
what the
to
riots,
say.
brother
y'all.
just said. Why don't you address what the brother just saying? Y'all running away, talking about,
He
but the
ignored Black Lives
Democrats,
Matter
da, da, da.
march to
Y'all
show
doing
him.
what aboutism?
Hey, Donis, you remember that one city where Black Lives Matter riders took over and called it CHAP? Where they took over it, the entire city, where the police were told to stand down. They were
In
rioting and
Portland,
looting.
it was
How
Dude,
Portland.
is the
It was
left
Portland.
not violent?
dude,
The
It was
left is
dude,
Portland.
extremely
It was
violent.
Portland. It
Are you
was
dude,
kidding?
Portland.
dude.
It was
dude.
Portland. It was Portland. It was in Portland.
Hell, they try to
Y'all,
kill Trump just now.
Portland.
I mean, this dude is slow
He
as
y'all
said
hell.
they
y'all
try
not
to
paying
When
kill
Trump
Trump
attention.
came
just
into
now when it was a
office,
Republican.
the
You're
They
violence
kill
happened
Trump
from the
just now.
Republicans first. Charlottesville was not Democrats.
But
Elvis,
Exactly.
the synagogue
Charlottesville
shooting
was
was not
all
Democrats.
Republican.
Elvis, you're lost. Elvis, you're
I
lost.
told
That was
I
the
told
way.
what.
It was before.
Only
It
coons
was
and white
way before
supremacists
Black
was
Lives
down
Matter.
with the
That's the
right to
point
Hold
that I'm
on,
making.
charges.
hold
It was
on,
before
hold
Black
on,
Lives Matter protest.
hold on.
Elvis. Black Lives Matter was started in 2015, 2014 when Mike Brown was killed.
Hey, y'all still
We're
spitballing.
talking
I
about
asked
the
a question.
protests
Y'all
and the riots
Burning down
after George
buildings and
Floyd
killing
was
people.
killed. That's when they
y'all
really
still
protested
spitballing.
after Floyd was
Hold on,
killed.
one mic. Go
Hey,
ahead, Level. Go ahead, Level. Go
y'all
ahead,
still
Level.
spitballing. Y'all haven't answered me. I know the ones who gonna stay here. Who are y'all? What y'all gonna do? Cause I can help you.
Okay, Donis, I
I
got an
can help
answer
Hold
you.
for
on,
him,
Steve.
man.
They
Hold
don't
on,
think
Steve. Hold on,
Republicans
Steve.
are racist. That's why they having a problem, brother.
Look,
I can't.
That's
Level.
I
Yeah,
can't.
bro, because we're not pussy ass black men. That's why.
Okay, but
Shit,
now I'm asking.
you're
well,
I'm
you
resorting
sound
asking.
to
like
ad
chicken wing.
hominem.
Yeah,
Don't
That's
do
what it
that,
the
bro.
sounds like.
Don't
the
do that.
white
We're gonna
men
talk
don't live
intellectually
under
without
a
You
talking
don't
in
bed
run
names.
like
to other
yours.
people.
Say, Kofi, I would definitely say
Both parties can
both
be
sides.
racist.
I would no, both parties can be racist. You're correct, but I would definitely say black men on the left would definitely lean toward a more effeminate and scary side. That's just a fact.
Now you
Thank you.
said, wait a
So
That's
minute.
you're
what
on the
that's
left.
what
I
they
thought you
put
were
in
on
your
the right.
head.
Hold
That's what
up.
they put in
And
your
and
head. Being
Republicans
masculine
Black
are
don't
the
men
mean being
house
crying on
niggas of
aggressive.
TV about
today.
white
You can
folks.
be
Get out
That's
of
light
masculine
here.
side.
and be caring about what other people.
Republicans are the house niggas
Say,
of today because the brother
say,
told you
can I
some
finish?
white
So,
That's
Black
okay.
men
supporters
supporting
said you
LGBT
better not be
rights.
here,
Being
dude,
and y'all
masculine does
ran
not mean
away.
being
hey,
So it sounds
emotional.
like y'all the
I
pussyfied
finished.
dude.
Okay,
We
go ahead,
Can
care
Level.
about
I
how other
finish so
people's
I can
lives
get
stand.
off?
We
Can
care
I
about
finish?
social.
Go ahead, Level. Go ahead,
Can
Level.
I finish? See,
Yeah, go
y'all
ahead.
start back spitballing. That's what we do as
Go
black
ahead,
people. We
Level. For
start
me,
going in on each other.
Level. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm gonna act as accordingly. Business as usual. Whoever wins, I ain't running. I'm gonna go to Africa when I deem when I'm ready to go. I'm gonna still run my business. I'm gonna be right here in Atlanta. I ain't going nowhere.
Now my rush is to get. We're behind. We're behind on that aspect. We're behind on economics here. We're behind because we're not together. I don't give a damn about no party. We can't make neither one of them do what we want them to do. That's my reason why I go on to make that connection with Africa and getting the resources there and being able to develop an economic base. That's what I'm going for. I got to put that on speed dial, bro. I gotta do it. But I'm not gonna sit up here and spitball with y'all youngsters. I'm gonna let y'all go on and do what y'all gonna do, and I'm gonna get off of here and go back to doing what I was doing. But I got a plan. I don't know about y'all, but I got one.
Hey, man, hey, brother, do your
Woo,
thing. Do your thing. Do your thing.
Thank you, brother, for that. I
that's
really
one
appreciate
less
that.
Biden voter. Thank you. Woo.
Go ahead, did so. Did so Latin America. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. Coffee, are you Coffee the Black Critic?
Yes, I am.
What's up? What's up, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Ditso?
We talk into it. All right, so just real quickly, give you a perspective. From Latin America, what we saw happening to Trump, it's like, oh, here we go again. United States is not a foreign to political violence for the past 200 years, at least 19 different events where some of them have been successful: the Lincoln assassination, the JFK assassination, the attempted assassination against Reagan. Even in the most recent years, you've had both Republican and Democrat Congress people being attacked, including Pelosi, the husband of Pelosi, with a broken thing, and a Republican who was almost stabbed 2 years ago in nearby Pennsylvania, if I'm not incorrect. However, this notion of what's happening in towards or against Trump, we see it as something. Those of us who are ample critics of the bipartisan model of the United States, that we don't care about Democrats or Republicans, we see them the same in many ways, especially in matters of foreign policy. What we see today is just something that was expected to happen. The violence was deriving from the end of the last election with the lies of the stolen election, etc., and that has culminated to one culmination to the attack of Trump. Now, what I find ironic and somewhat amusing is that the party and the group of people who have embraced conspiracy theories, if we could call them that, conspiracy mumbo jumbo, are now being handled or treated in the same way they have treated other issues. Uh, so I'm not going to say, oh, it was a stage, etc., because there's no evidence. But to pose the question, could this have been staged by the Trump campaign? It's a fair question. I'm not saying that it's a yes or no, but what's like in Spanish it says what's lo que justo para el ganso es justo para la gansa. What's fair for the geese is fair for the goose. Um, so I find that amusing in the sense that now the Trump side will have to deal with that eternal imposition of a conspiracy minded idea, and some erroneously or not, or erroneously, or just because they want to throw the rhetoric around there, telling you all that was set up, blah, 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 blah. Now, the other part of the conversation, and with this I wanted to conclude, I found interesting the conversation around Project 2025 of the Heritage Foundation, which I've read. Something that caught my attention in regards of claiming that, Trump disavowed, and I air quote disavow strongly. I don't know if you could share the page I just uploaded. This was published 8 years ago. This was on the 18th, on the first administration of Donald Trump, in the heritage.org webpage, where they tell us Trump administration embraces Heritage Foundation policy recommendations. And it gives us pretty much a list, and it even gives a rundown of the 334 policies back then, of what they were working. So it's kind of hard for me to even acknowledge that Trump may say, "Oh, I don't know anything about the project," when in the words of their own Heritage Foundation, with approximately 70 former Heritage employees working for the Trump transition team as part of the administration, the policy recommendations have served as guidelines for reducing the size and scope of federal government through specific detailed actions. This was being boasted by Heritage Foundation 7-8 years ago on the first on the beginnings of the first administration of Biden, and then they give us.
If I can ask you a question, when did what does this have to do with Project 2025?
It's part of it in the sense that how can we?
Let me ask when the last question. When did Project 2025 come out? Go ahead.
Project 2025 had different iterations. So every so often, for example, on the 17th, they did a leaders type of recommendation, which was the basis for the current Project 2025. So what we call Project 2025 is not one specific project, but a whole series of recommendations and policy recommendations of conservative policies that are put forward by this private lobbying office called the Heritage Foundation, which has a lot of money and spends a lot of money on this, and influences then especially people like Reagan or Trump or Bush, etc., that have had more nearness in this. This Heritage Foundation, I would ask, is this part of the deep state? Are this private organizations that meddle and have complete and utter integration with those body governments, part of that deep state, or just because they're conservative, they're not seen like that? That's a fair question to poise in that sense. Now, with this, I conclude with a political point of perspective. In my position, there's no doubt I am a critic of both Biden. Biden is a senile old guy who is shouldn't be running a second time, but Trump is not exactly the paragon of Adonis type of individual. I consider that the current situation in the United States shows to us once again that the United States, for all they boast about being the number one country, etc., they live very similar political crises that we have lived throughout Latin America in the last 200 years. So in that sense, the question now is, where is this thing going headed? Where and how the next election in November is going to evolve, and what can be seen for the future. If Trump wins presidency, many of us in Latin America are just going to turn our backs and not going to cooperate with the United States anymore. Even in questions of migration, that is extremely important for him, we're not going to help. And if Biden wins, we might have a slight willingness to try to work, but knowing that it's going to be fruitless in many ways.
Well, then just turn your backs. Just turn your backs. We'll be fine.
You won't. You won't be fine. You need us to work in help you in matters of migration, in matters
Can I
of the
jump in
impact
on
of the
this
drug war.
as soon as this gentleman is done?
Let me.
Nah, bro, I'm up next, bro.
Hold on. Let me go ahead. This Latin American. Let me play this video for Elvis. Then I'm gonna pass it to T.
All right, no. All I was saying is in that sense, there's the analysis, and let's see what happens in the near future.
Okay, so Elvis, this was immediately after Trump's election in 2016.
Not my president! 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 The whole world is watching! The whole world is watching! Talk about Trump! 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 No KKK, no fascist USA! No Trump! No KKK, no fascist USA! Hey, love Trump, hey! Love Trump, hey! Love Trump, hey! Love Trump, hey!
I'm going to get to my point. Hold on. I'll just make my point. All of us here, whether we're women, people of color, working class.
This is not what people want, and this is what it looks like to resist, to fight back against Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is that back.
A bunch of whiny snowflakes. All right,
Now
go ahead.
show
I love
Charlottesville.
it. Fuck that.
Show Charlottesville.
The
It was a
fascist
bunch
and he's
of
a
quiet,
racist.
white liberal
They're
women
right.
out
Show
there.
Charlottesville,
That's all
Fascist
it
Dynasty.
and a
was.
racist.
No
Yo, you
one is
have a
worried
problem
about
with fascist and
Charlottesville.
racist?
No one's worried about Charlottesville.
Go ahead, T. Go ahead, T.
Hey, Dinas. So I have to respond
Fools
to
ain't
Blevo.
worried about
Blevo does not
Charlottesville.
represent. Nobody's worried about Charlottesville, but whiny ass black men. Now, Dinas, what happened? Blevo does not represent African American men in Texas. We're not afraid of these white boys. In fact, there are so many men from California and New York fleeing these blue states to come around these red states. Yeah.
T. Are you on speakerphone? Because it's just the background noise, whatever you got going.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got you. I got you on Bluetooth. Let me take off my Bluetooth real quick. So I'm driving.
All right.
I mean, remove that right now, man. My bad.
Well, if he's driving, please take care. We don't want an accident.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me now? Is it clear?
Well, go ahead. We'll work with it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So Blevo doesn't represent black men. Blevo represents the Negro, scary, effeminate black male class. To come in front of us men and say, "Oh, these white boys are getting ready for war. What are y'all gonna do?" That is a cowardly man response. A real man response is gonna say, "I'm gonna stand my ground and defend my home, my family. I'm not gonna run." How many white people in this country do you ever hear come on in the face of black people? "Oh, we're going to flee back to Europe." No, they're going to get their guns like men and fight the invaders. So Blevo does not represent black men. And these conservatives that he talks about that are so scary, if they were so scary, why are so many black liberals fleeing New York, California, Chicago, all these liberal cesspits? Why are they coming to places like Texas for a better living? You see, because you have to understand, these people are lying.
I can answer that question.
To overtake the Republicans.
By white.
To
But hold
overtake the
on, bro.
Republicans.
No, you're
That's
not
why.
going to cut me off. Nope. I let y'all be long-winded. Now, let me also say something about this assassination. You see, you have to understand the liberals. They are communists, and they control 90% of the media. So one has to understand before Donald Trump and social media, what the media does is they put up some weak Republican, either it's George Bush or Mitt Romney or John McCain, versus some Democrat, stooge. And whoever wins, the American people lose. Why? Because both of those candidates are bought and paid for and don't represent the American people. The reason why 2016 was so pivotal is because Donald Trump was not controlled by the political class. So much so that many in the Republican Party hated them. All of the neocons who supported Bush switched sides and supported the Democrats because they don't like this message where what you are closing the border, what you are trying to end all these wars and foreign adventures, and you want to focus on your people. What? That's not what we're about. Donald Trump upset the order. So when the media apparatus couldn't destroy Donald Trump with their fake Russia investigations, then they moved to what we're seeing now in 2024 as he run again. They're trying to take the man off the ballot, but guess what? The Supreme Court didn't allow that. So what do liberals do next? Now they try to jail the president. In New York, they are over here overturning laws and upgrading laws into felonies to make Donald
Lies,
Trump go to
lies. I live
jail.
in New York.
Then
Stop
and,
the
and,
lies.
and, and that still doesn't work. And now we got the
See,
Supreme
Khalid, were
Court
you
with
in special
immunity.
ed as a
Oh no, I'm
kid?
still talking, bro. You're not gonna cut me off, bro.
No, you
The
told mad
Supreme
lies and
Court's
Diners didn't
immunity
cut you off
claim
yet.
now clears Donald Trump from all these
You
problems.
told
So
mad
what's
lies,
next,
not getting
Linus?
cut off.
When you can't silence him, when you can't control the public, when you can't jail him, the last step is to assassinate him. And yes, they took some white boy who was a liberal. He's not no conservative. Because think about
Lies.
it, Dinah. Seriously, ask yourself a logical question. All of us were 17 years old. How are we at 17 so political that we're donating to a political party? This 17-year-old boy used his money to donate to some Act Blue Democrat thing. Just think about it. Were you that political at 17? No, you weren't. And just because he registered Republican means nothing. There are a lot of rhino never Trumpers who will register Republican just to get Nikki Haley or one of these other Republicans in who they don't like. So they took some obscure
Republican.
loser white male and set him up to assassinate Donald Trump. He was supposed to die yesterday, and the headlines were supposed to be some lone gunman. No, this is the system trying to take out Donald Trump because they can't beat him. Biden is senile. They have nothing else. Do not listen to these scary black weak men who don't know anything about politics who are going to tell you it's staged, because if it's staged, how is the gunman died or was even there? If it's staged, then you mean to tell me all the Trump supporters who saw that Trump supporter get shot in his head, they're all lying? See, black men are so emotional that they can't concede the fact that there's any corruption on their
You're the
side.
emotional
And
one.
whenever
Your
these
voice
white
is
liberals
cracking.
lose,
and
Your
crying.
they're
voice is
going
cracking,
to side
bro.
with them. That's why they are trying to say it's staged, because they understand that this makes their side look so bad. So they got as excuse makers as these Negroes are, who don't take accountability for nothing. They have to make excuses as to what happened with the assassination and try to say it's staged. This is what's happening, bro. And yes, if Trump wins, the Civil War is going to come from liberals because they're the only side who institute violence. They're the only side who burns down buildings. They're
No,
the
it's going to
only
come from both
side,
sides.
and
January
when
6th.
they
See,
have
January
protests,
there
6th. Yeah,
goes
people
there
January
goes
6th.
your
die.
special
It's
ed
the
education
liberals,
again.
not the
There
No, it's
goes
gonna
your
come from
conservatives.
special
both
ed
The
sides.
power
education again, you
structure
idiot.
side with the liberals, not the
He's a house
conservatives.
Negro. Let him talk. Let the house Negro talk, man.
I
Let him
don't care
talk.
what you tell me, bro. It's the
This dude
power
was dropped on his
structure
head as a baby, man.
sides with the liberals.
You have
Tell me I'm
a
wrong.
brain injury. We can tell
90%
by
of
your
the
speech
media
pattern,
is
bro.
Negro,
controlled by
you
liberals.
accused the guy saying
All
that
of the
white people
Hollywood is
that.
controlled by liberals. Tell me I'm wrong.
Khalid, if I may.
Nah, let him go, man.
No, no,
Let
Oh,
him
hold on,
no,
go.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I just had to debunk it and tell
Hold on,
people
let me
the
pass,
real
truth.
quickly, real
hold
quickly.
on, no. Let me pass the mic to Dre W because he's been waiting. Go
Okay.
ahead, Dre.
Yeah, so as far as like this whole situation with the assassination attempt, now I don't think it was staged because obviously one person did get killed at the rally. But what I
It was two
do,
people, brother. Two people. It was the shooter and a bystander got killed.
Oh, I thought it was just one, but yeah, thanks for correcting me on that. But yeah, two people had gotten killed, so I don't think it's staged. You know, of course, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that are trying to make it seem as if they staged the whole thing or made it seem as if it wasn't real. I'm not going to be one of those people, but I do feel like the direction this country is going in is that I feel like both sides are going to be very radical in terms of this election cycle. I'm not going to sit here and finger point because all I'm witnessing right now is a bunch of people finger pointing at the liberals and then finger pointing at the conservatives,
As
but
we should
nobody's
finger point at them.
but
As we
nobody's
should with
looking
the
at the middle
lying
ground.
media.
Nobody's looking at like, okay, how can we find a middle ground between the two ideologies or the two parties? Because it seems to me that it's causing a bunch of havoc in the country right now. Even just with this,
You better talk to the liberals in the media
Yeah,
because
he's
they
lying.
started
He's
it.
lying. The most violent people are Republicans right now, and
Oh
even if
my
you do an
God, boy,
olive
y'all
branch
watch too
right
much
now, right?
CNN, man.
You have people in the Republican Party talking bad about their own people, right? That are Republicans. Say, hey, let's do an olive branch, right? Fine, I'm a Republican, but I don't agree with Donald Trump. So you have a lot of people like Nikki Haley that don't agree with Donald Trump, and
Yeah,
other
clowns.
people that don't
Who
agree with
who
them,
has
right?
been
Because you got
threatening civil
people
war?
because
The
you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
people a
Republicans.
part of the MAGA
Nikki
cult.
Haley
So
loves Israel
you
more
see,
than the
here we
United
go
States.
again.
And
Here we go
you're
again,
going to call her
bro.
American? Get out of here.
You're talking. I'm talking. So
Yeah,
that's my point. So you have all
I got to interject, Kofi, but in the
you have these emotional people.
Nikki Haley, bro, you
hold on,
crazy.
Mike, but in the Democratic Party, Kofi, they're fighting over if Biden should still be the nominee.
You're absolutely right. That's how we know we're not a cult, because you're saying, hey, look, we need to get rid of them.
No, you
You're
guys
right.
are
You
a
have
cult.
most of the
You guys are a
Republican
cult.
Party.
You're not gonna talk over me. You guys are a cult
What's
because
that's your opinion.
you guys are a cult because for the
That's
longest,
your opinion. Go ahead.
you guys continue to lie about his health, and we've been saying for the longest that the guy wasn't all there. You guys lied about it for 4 years, and then all of a sudden,
That's your opinion.
Now,
That's your
because
opinion. The fact of the matter is,
liberals
on the
take their
ballot,
marching
you
orders
have
from the
people
media.
in
That's why
conservative
they're stopped.
states that are voting for Nikki Haley. You have people in conservative states that are voting for Nikki Haley, right? Because they don't agree with it, right? And what do Republicans do? Oh, never rhinos. At least in the Democratic Party,
Yep.
you have
We get these
diehard
clowns out.
Democrats
Absolutely.
saying that. Look, I'll admit,
I wanna
there's
respond
blue
to this.
MAGA. There's a thing called blue MAGA and red MAGA, right? You still have some Democrats that are saying, nope, Joe Biden no matter what, which I can understand. But at the same time, if what you're saying is true and you believe that Trump is a threat to democracy, you need to think like, you know what? This is not Joe Biden is not polling well. Look at the damn polls. The hell with names. Look at the polls. If Joe Biden's polling bad, you need to
Because no
replace
one
him.
is buying the media
No one's
skin
going to
Kofi.
tactics
replace
anymore, brother.
Kofi.
no one's going to replace Donald Trump in the Republican Party because he's polling well. So it makes sense for the Republican Party to keep Donald Trump, right? Because
Kofi.
everyone's getting on the. Yeah, go ahead.
Trump lost by almost 8 million popular vote the last time and barely lost these elections.
Facts.
I mean, imagine that, bro. Imagine that. There was an
Trump
8
was never
million
popular.
vote
He lost the
difference,
popular vote.
and
He lost the popular vote.
But popular
Republicans
vote
has
is
won the
won by the
popular
Electoral
vote
it's the
College.
once
electoral
in the
vote that
last
determines the
24
election.
years. They've won the popular vote once in the last 24 years,
If I
and
can,
they've had, I
Kofi.
think, 2 or 3 presidents. So imagine that. This country is vastly a democratic country, bro. People vote. Go ahead, Dinus. I won't cut you up. Go ahead.
because it's California. I mean, California needs to be his own state. Go ahead, Alan. Then I'm gonna pass it to.
Yeah, what I want to respond to is this idea that the Democratic Party is like this bastion of democracy and fairness. I was a registered Democrat and was voting Democratic when they went up there and ripped off Bernie twice. When they went ahead and they got Debbie Wasserman Schultz to do that, and then immediately she quit and then joined Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Alan, if I can cut you off, and Donna Brazile.
Right? They got all kinds of things going on here where they're far less fair than the Republican Party has been. The Republican Party is far more unified, which is why they are able to castigate the people as rhinos, because most of the people in the Republican Party actually fall in line and have certain pieces of their agenda that they agree on. We people on the left tend to not have any unity. They're forcing things down people's throats that don't have anything to do with with what some people, especially unions and stuff like that, want, right? Forcing this LGBTQ agenda, and then flat out cheating when when the person they want to select loses. And so that you need to, when you say stuff about the Democratic Party being fair, when in fact they've been the most unfair, you can't say stuff like that.
So if I
No,
may
no, that's
intervene
not
real
what I'm
quickly.
saying. That's not what I say. If you
Not
listen to me,
cheating.
you're mischaracterizing what I'm saying.
I was a Bernie supporter. It was influence
What you
peddling.
said is absolutely
Influence.
right about Donald.
Let me, Mexican Condor. Go ahead, Mexican Condor.
Yeah, I just wanted to rebut a couple of things that Mr. I believe, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses, Mr. Ditso mentioned earlier. First of all, I'd like to just put to rest this whole idea of this shooting being staged. Find somebody you trust to graze you on the cheek with a bullet from 100 yards. I dare you. It was not staged. Let's just put that to rest, okay?
I never said it was staged. I said that it was amusing that some people are applying a conspiracy mindset towards and against the group who embraced conspiracy mindsets. That I find that amusing, but I never said or in any way, shape, or manner claim that it was staged. I'm pointing out the irony on that behavior and how that behavior is being applied.
The impression I had is that you implied that's a plausible question to entertain. But putting that aside, with regard to immigration and Donald Trump, you know what? If your best hope in life is to come to the United States to clean the white man's toilets, the problem isn't the United States. The problem is your society. And we should be ashamed of ourselves because we are the Americas. We shouldn't have to rely on coming to the United States for our only hope at having a better life. But putting that aside, I will surrender the
but to answer on that point, real quickly, just to answer Mexican, nice to meet you. Be talking on this thing. On your second point, first, the impacts and the situation of migration are responding to three major canales. Sorry, I lost the translation in English. Three major factors, to say it that way. One of them is directly the impact of the war on drugs in the last 60 years in our regions. And that is directly responsibility and consequence of United States foreign policy. The other two have to do with also internal policies, which one of them I am going to bring up because it's extremely related to this conversation that everybody was being here. This is not my first time hearing people talking like this in matters of their internal politics. I lived it through Venezuela at the moment Hugo Chavez came to power, because at that time Venezuela was being handled by two political parties, the Adecos and the Copey. And I lived in Costa Rica at the end of the bipartisan rule 14, 15 years ago, when a third party was able to take the power out of the bipartisan model. So I've seen both. I've seen and I've lived through, as a political activist and as somebody who has lived in those countries, the exhaustion that happens with bipartisan model. T was giving his litany in regards of his position, but unfortunately it was
I was giving my facts. Yes, sir.
It was a bipartisan position that responded a lot to emotion. Just recently, and here, the video was shown after the election of Trump, how people protested, etc. But wouldn't that emotional reaction against Trump would be the same emotional reaction that the conservatives had at the end of the last election they lost, and that their mobilization pretty much
that caused January 6th was the most violent thing that happened in modern U.S. history.
So a bunch of unarmed white men went to the Capitol with no weapons.
This is white ass kissing. White ass kissing. White ass kissing.
The most violent
He's exonerating white violence. You're a cowardly black man.
They literally broke into the Capitol. I'm not done. That was guarding the Capitol. You said it wasn't violent?
Unarmed, yes, unarmed.
He's exonerating white violence.
We live in a country where we have the Second Amendment.
Black person, a pussy. The first person is acting like a pussy. You exonerating white violence. You should not condone
There was no white violence, sir.
These guys are always projecting. People like T. Khalid are always projecting.
So
he's insecure. He's insecure about his masculinity, so he always try to call people names.
Okay,
exactly. He is. He's a fucking
Give me a moment. I hadn't finished. Look at what just happened when I mentioned the similarities between one thing and the other in a responsible, an emotional response, but each of them within their own nuances. Look at the response that immediately it created.
Exactly.
Coffee. Just give me a second. This being said, look, sure, we can have the discussions of all the different subjects that are affecting, from economic to social to security to education, etc. And each of them can take us days of discussing and etc. But let's face one simple thing. Today, United States is living what Venezuela lived in its own way, what Costa Rica lived in its own way, and what many other countries in Latin America have lived through the ending of bipartisan models. Hold on to you.
Thanks to the media.
No, thanks to this people. The media only plays its role as long as the people enable that role to continue. But
If these people
hold on.
information, you don't think calling Trump Hitler, Nazi, overthrowing democracy, that doesn't do anything to the human psyche? Are you serious?
No, only a
Being called
fool
that by
like
the
you will
media,
let the
you
media
being
influence
called
your
that by
psyche.
celebrities,
Most
you being
people
called
know
that
to
in
read between the
Hollywood,
lines.
Again,
but that does nothing to the people's psyche to
People
go out
like
and do something
you, your
crazy.
psyche is
Like, like,
easily
like
One
y'all
influenced
moment.
just
because you're
said
slow
Trump
with it.
denying,
One moment.
y'all
It
just
does
said
Again,
something to
Trump
your
denying
psyche
the election
because you
led
have a
to
white
January
man hero
6th.
mentality.
But the
Yeah,
You
you
have
media
a
have a
is
white
weak
telling
man hero
these
mind.
people
So
mentality.
to
your
do
mind
It
can
anything
does
be
to
something
Trump.
to
easily
you.
Make it make
influenced.
sense.
Your mind can be easily influenced, T. Khalid, because you have a weak mind.
Can I
hold on, hold
offer
on. Let me finish here this
a
point real quickly.
submission?
I
May I
want to
offer a
finish
submission, please?
before you do that.
Thank
Let me
you.
finish the point. Let me finish the point.
Right,
Give me
right.
2 minutes and I'm done. Okay,
This you got a minute.
less than 2 minutes. Okay, a minute. So T, again, look at your response. And the if you say, okay, calling Hitler, Trump Hitler is bad, in the same way that calling migrants illegals or criminals, and then generalizing in that way, then your argument goes
If
both
they
ways.
cross the border, they are illegal,
I
sir,
think he got a
and
point
they
though.
committed a crime. That's a criminal offense.
Hold on,
Arguments.
but did so. If they're a legal immigrant, they're a legal immigrant. We're not saying all migrants are illegal or criminals, just the illegal ones who are criminals.
I wish that were true, but in
But sometimes they
policy
do
terms,
generalize.
they do
Yeah, if
generalize
you
and
cross
they
the border
apply
legally, you're committing a
an
crime.
umbrella.
But did so.
But that's not the argument right now. The argument
But no,
was
but you brought it up.
that
Just let me correct it. I'll pass it back to you. If you cross the border illegally, you're a criminal. It's illegal.
no, not necessarily. You
No.
are an undocumented individual who needs to be then be
God.
They
documented.
don't
But
care about that. If you're a white
illegality.
person dancing in, they don't care. If you're brown, that's when these niggas cape for white people. But there are
So
ports of entry that you're supposed to go legally. So if you're here, you only here quote unquote illegally because you don't have documents. There's ports of entry that you need to go into and do the process. But Trump is not the Trump doesn't even want to do anything about immigration because he doesn't want the Democrats to look bad, right?
Who wants to close the border, brother?
hold on.
Was he in The favor of border is separating not families open, at the so border? that's how you know you don't know what you're talking about.
Hold
The
on.
border was never
Hold on.
Oh
open.
my Lord, yo.
What I wanted to show
go ahead,
on that argument, real quickly, was the fact that if the argument of T is to blame how communication creates resentment or creates confusion or etc., then that is also applicable for the pundits of conservative that, for example, Fox News, who, and not only Fox News, AON, Real American News, Mike Tidell, Infowars, etc., who
What
have
about
Fox
what,
News.
who have proven
what about CNN and MSNBC?
CNN, everybody.
Saying
I'm
that Yep, they're
talking.
different.
Okay,
CNN
okay.
was
Hold
never
on.
sued successfully for telling lies like Fox News. Stop the bullshit.
Okay, hold on.
Donis, it's
What I'm
insane how
saying.
you ignore the
Both news
media.
platforms are very
That's the
biased.
What I'm
Just
discriminator
saying.
one
of
left wing and one
information,
right wing.
What I'm
and
saying
say
is
that
as
they are
follows.
to blame.
What I'm saying is as follows. You're jumping to conclusions. What I'm saying is as follows. Your argument, T, lacks the expansion that you need to acknowledge that the influence of what individuals choose to hear as communication has also to do with the individual's capacity to discern what information they're being provided and be able to then have a better sense if XYZ is lying to them or giving them a propaganda note, etc., etc., etc. But
Great.
the
Thank you for
problem
your
here.
It's
submission,
like,
sir.
man, y'all don't watch
That
the
Oh,
was a
America
minute.
has the biggest
That was a
propaganda
minute. So if I may,
Yeah, well,
rhetoric on this
I
planet.
gotta pass the mic now. I gotta pass the mic now. But real quick, Kofi, what can you tell me more about this CNN settles lawsuit with Nick Saban stemming from viral video controversy for $275 million? But let me pass it to Shah. Go ahead,
yeah.
Shah.
So, gentlemen, I would like to offer a different perspective in that we have an objective view of this whole political system, this country, even the country. As 40 million, and I'm speaking for Africans in America, African Americans, 40 to 50 million of us, right? We need to have our think tanks. Where's our think tanks? We need to be organizing and thinking about how we can secure our future as a people, because the political outcomes, whether it is Republican or Democrat, it seems that it doesn't give us a foothold. It doesn't give us we're not getting a future. And I can't blame it all on the political system, because I feel like we have to do a part of the work that this political system would add to what we're doing in terms of a people, to organize and to build our communities, to build our economies and our and bring the right educational systems, all of those basic things that we need to be doing. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: as a young person in the community, as I was doing this work in the community, I start coming into contact with foundations and the board members on foundations and their political affiliations and relationships. One of which gentleman went to school with George Bush Jr. That wanted to purchase this land that we were doing this community projects on, a field that we put a community garden on, brought me to have a adversarial relationship with George Bush's classmate in one of the academies. I think it was West Point or something like that. I could never imagine being in a situation where I'm dealing with people like that. I'm saying that to say to you, if you're doing work in your community on any kind of level, that you'll find yourself coming in face with these developers, with money people, trying to take your stuff or undo the good that you're doing. And this is what leads me to really respect Philippe, the lawyer that comes into these rooms, Philippe, because he talks about taking us, about us looking to Africa to invest in, even if we don't go there to live, to have some investment. And to me, that represents an autonomy, an economic autonomy, however pie in the sky it may be. I think that our conversations need to be, or I should say, in my opinion, our conversations need to be looking at these events very objectively, and also with a skeptical eye, because truly, if someone's in a public setting and the CIA or the FBI wanted to assassinate them, and they have to go do public hearings, meetings, they would be dead. They would be killed. The only
Did
way,
two people die and did Trump get shot on the ear?
and those
Did
were
two
the
people die? Yes or no? Did two
yes,
people die? Okay,
yes.
so there's
Now,
no
no,
stage.
no,
Next.
no. I'm
Skip,
still
skip,
submitting.
no.
I'm gonna
Stop
land.
dumbing
Let me
down
finish.
black people trying to
Let me
insinuate
finish.
stage.
Let me finish,
You
please.
admitted two people
Please.
died. So
Let me
whatever you
finish,
about to say
please.
next is just straight up nonsense.
Right. So let me say this. I would say this, that even with two people dying, that those two people could be easy. What do they call those casualties?
Cannon
Uh,
fodder.
right, yeah, there's a word for it. I'm trying
Oh
to think of it, but
Lord, man.
they were
Trump
scapegoat
is up in the
casualties or
polls. No
whatever,
point in
right?
stating
For
something
Shaw,
you
we're
ain't
not
gonna
doing
win.
this, man. Shaw, we're not. This wasn't staged, Shaw. We're not doing this. We're not
Yeah,
doing
right.
this.
seriously.
So
That's how you dumb down black people,
We're
man.
not doing it.
again,
We're not doing a Negro conspiracy theories.
right. So, and it's not a Negro conspiracy,
They said
because
Even
I
though
saw,
they're MAGA and they do
because
nothing but
You have
I
conspiracy
remember
zero
theories,
proof.
seeing
this was
I remember
real.
seeing John F. Kennedy. There's a lot of conspiracies about John F. Kennedy's death. Around his death, there's a
he
lot of
was killed.
conspiracy.
He was killed. He was
Right, he
killed.
was killed. Right,
Right.
and there's
Right.
conspiracies around Ronald Reagan getting shot by that girl. I
He
think it
was
was a
shot.
girl.
He was shot.
Right.
Right.
All
Right.
right. So
Why would you
allegedly,
stage something when you're up in the polls? That makes
Donald
zero
Trump was
sense.
shot
Hold
in
on.
the
Hold on.
ear.
So T, hold on, T. What are you trying to say?
Allegedly, Donald Trump was shot in the ear. I don't necessarily buy that, and that's not a conspiracy. I just don't.
Cut himself,
Everything
bro.
that I see, I don't
That's just
believe
a
that
belief.
what I see in the motherfucking media. I'm gonna put it that way.
So what do you believe happened?
So I believe what happened was that it was a faked, and the two people died as a result of the fake.
You've got to be kidding.
That
Yeah,
sounds like a
Unbelievable.
conspiracy.
Did
That
they
sounds
do
like a
themselves?
they killed two people as a
You've got to
result.
be kidding me.
Right. Two
But
people.
can you
And the
prove
other
it? Can you prove that that's the
And this is why you
truth?
can't listen to a lot of black people about politics, man. I swear to God.
Can I
Yeah,
say something
listen to
real
your
quickly?
coon ass. Like, shut up. Stop
I
dumping
just
on
don't
black
Can I
people when
believe
say
you're the
something real
problem.
quickly?
everything I see. I
It was
just
a
don't
fake.
believe everything I see on the
Hey,
media.
okay,
That's all.
George, let me ask you this:
But you believe Trump is a
hold on.
Nazi and an existential
But
threat.
that's
Okay.
not the major point that I'm making, though, fellas. The major point that I'm making is that this event is taking place, whether it was true or not. But the fact of the matter is, as black men, and most of us in here are that, we need to have our eyes looking, not too far up, not too far distracted down this road, because this buzz is going to last a month of conversations with the media, so they make their money on this. We cannot afford to be cackling about this situation and not about the real shit in our communities. I'll land right there.
All right, let me
Can I say something
Agreed,
real
brother.
quick?
I mean, part of it, I agree. It's a
One
distraction, but yeah.
mic. Let me pass it to go ahead, Black Beauty.
Hey y'all, I did not even intend on having my business allowed on this show. But anyway, so I called in. What do you want me to call in for, Dinus? What's up?
You made a comment about leaving or something like that. I just go ahead and build on that.
I don't really have any comments. I just feel like as Black African people, we have worked hard for what is considered America, and I think that someone else should fight for it now. I think we really just need to move aside, take our investment, our capital outside of the country, and just even if you want to keep your capital in the country, if you want to continue to invest in the market, if you want to continue, but you don't have to invest all your time and energy. That's really what I was trying to allude to. I'm not going to sit here and argue with y'all because I don't really give a damn. I'll be honest.
Why do y'all come on and change the
I like
topic
her.
Amen
No,
to
I
that,
mean,
sister.
I know that is the topic. That's the real
about the
reality.
left and right and assassination? If you got one
No,
black man, just absolutely change the talk. We need to focus on black. We do focus on black people, but
And she
it's
said,
just
no, you
seems like
don't.
every
No, you don't.
time
You're just
we
going to
have these
focus on
important
demonizing
conversations,
black people
y'all
and excusing
turn the
white racists.
conversation
That's
to
your
keep
job.
black people
That's
dumbed
your
down,
job.
not knowing what's going on around them. This is why black people don't even know that there's a civil war
You have
going
a
on
white
between the left
hero
and the right
complex,
because their
man.
heads
Like,
are in the clouds
you
all the
have a
time.
white man
Wait a
hero
second.
complex.
Wait a second. Exactly. I mean, if you think I didn't hear the news, we heard the news yesterday. I mean,
But
my
this is a
husband
conversation of the topic
told
of
me
the
the
panel.
news.
So why y'all changing the topic?
I'm not changing the
Because you
topic.
change the topic
We're
all the
talking
time.
about something historic.
Yes,
You
it is
changed the
historic.
topic. When the
It's not
brother was
historic
talking
to
about
me.
MAGA people telling black people to leave and to be warned, you and Dice want to talk about what aboutism, then now you're not pro-black. Now it's black men is
So you
weak.
spoke to one
You weak.
racist in
You
Texas.
are weak.
White folks in Texas don't care. Negroes are fleeing to Texas like crazy. Houston is about to be another Atlanta. Why
See?
y'all coming to Texas? Get out of
Excuses.
Texas. It's a bunch of racist
Anything, let's
white boys.
focus
Please,
on
bye.
anything except for the blatant white racism that brother called up here, that face. But you're supposed to be pro-black. You're pro-bullshit.
Kofi,
You at
how
least
do you
want to
side? No,
change
no,
the
Kofi,
subject.
Kofi. As a man, how do you side with another man being a coward, saying we need to leave because
It has
so supposed to hit the
nothing to
fan?
do
As
with
a
citing.
man, how do you side with that as a
It
man?
has
That's
it has nothing to
cowardly
do with
speaking.
citing.
White men don't even
You
talk
would be more
like that around their
listen.
people.
You would be more convincing if you would have said, "Wow, that's messed up. That guy is a white supremacist and a coward, brother." What if I was you? I would have said, "Then we're gonna fight." Then I'm like, "No, I can't say nothing." But you even didn't demonize or say what that white man said was reprehensible. You started doing whataboutism. That will make you look weak
Because
and a
he
pussy.
insinuated this is all of the white conservatives in Texas, and that's not true. And like I said, if
No, he did
Texas
not
is
say
so
that. He
bad,
said he
these
heard from
Negroes
3
need to
people.
pack up
He
and
said he
leave and
heard
stop
3
coming to our
people.
state. Stop
He
coming
did
to
not say
Houston and
all
making
white
it the
people.
HIV infestation that it is.
He did not say all white
Leave.
people. You're lying. He did not say all white people. He said he's a home adjuster. Dinus asked him, how many people told you this? He said it was 3 white people that were MAGA, and this is what they told me. I would never say I know white
So 3
conservatives and they
white
do
folks
not think
took
like
us.
this.
Okay, good Lord, have mercy,
All white
man.
conservatives don't think like this, but we do have a significant amount of white MAGA cultist conservatives that think this way. And as a black
Okay.
man,
Got
that
any,
you're
got any proof
supposed
of
to
that?
be,
Do you
that
have
you're
any?
supposed to be,
Do
you
you
should have
do you
said,
have
"Hey,
any
look,
proof of
I
that? Do you have
denounce
any
what
proof
they're
of that?
saying, but
Do you have any proof of that? That the majority of white people that support Trump think like that?
I didn't say that. You must say you have again. You have your
No,
MAGA ears
no,
are
you
on.
said
Your
no.
MAGA
You
You
ears
do
are
have
on.
said
white
I
you
would
nationalists and
never. I said I would never say that all white people or that are
said the
Republicans are racist
majority.
because I
You said
know
the
white
majority.
people
You
that are
said the
Republicans
majority.
and they're
You
not
said the
racist.
majority. You said the majority.
The majority of who?
MAGA supporters. That's what you said. White MAGA supporters think like that. That's what you said.
I said MAGA supporters are racist, but I wouldn't say all of them are racist as far as like Republicans and party affiliation. I would
Okay.
never say that because that's ridiculous.
Let me pass it to C Mac. Go ahead. Hold on, let me pass it to C Mac. Go ahead, C Mac. Unmute yourself. C Mac, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, Prince, and everybody on here. I had a question for I don't remember his name, but I think he's the Latino guy that was speaking.
Real quick, Kofi, do me a favor.
Okay,
Do you know
okay.
about this? Kofi, do you know this lawsuit for $275 million that CNN had to settle?
Are we gonna have a conversation about it, or are you just trying to desperately win the
No.
W?
You said, because when I brought up CNN, you brought up Fox News being sued. So I was just asking about this CNN settles lawsuit for it was $275 million. But we'll get back to it. Go ahead, C Mac.
Yeah, well, my question is this. He said something that about the migrants where I think he was saying that they were needed here in the country. So I was trying to get him to see if he could elaborate on what specifically was he meaning as far as needed.
He left the chat.
I think
They're
what
going to
Disso was
speak for
saying,
their
because
interests,
I'm
man.
sorry, I don't want to really talk for Disso, but I know this a little bit. I think what he's trying to say is that you have a lot of jobs, right? That corporations, so all this stuff about we don't like immigrants and keep them away, corporations love them. Why? Because they do the jobs that Americans wouldn't do. So like
Why
picking
wouldn't they? Why wouldn't the
strawberries
Americans do the
and
job though?
agriculture.
We don't
I'm
know
sorry.
that to be true.
I'm
And
sorry.
the
Well,
Negroes in Chicago and New
my
Yorkers
question?
complain
I can't.
about these
Why
immigrants.
why?
I can't hear what the brother's saying.
Yeah, let me speak with him. Why aren't Americans taking these jobs?
The reason why Americans not taking that job because it doesn't pay a livable wage and it has next to
Correct.
no benefits. So they get
Correct. Well,
migrants. There's certain border states that does agriculture, and so during the season they allow migrants to come in to pick strawberries and harvest whatever produce that they need. They do that and they go back, right? So because
are they on
they
a work
can't
visa?
get they're probably
let
on
me
a work
respond. Let me
visa.
respond.
Look. They're probably on a work visa, or maybe not. I wouldn't put it past someone to not be on a work visa. We all go to Home Depot and we see a couple essays here and stuff like that, and they say, "Hey, come, I got something for you to do." That's not a Mexican doing that. Those are white people doing that.
Well, here's the thing. You just double talked yourself because if you're picking up a migrant from Home Depot, you're not picking them up for strawberries or picking any crops.
No,
So
no. I
that's
used it
one
as an
that
example as far as
well
demonizing them, saying that it's other Mexicans and people doing it, where it's the
well
corporate
let me land my
structure
plane. Let me land
that's
my plane.
asking for it.
It won't be long. It won't be long. I promise you. You can say whatever you have to say, but let's just be real. The reason that what you're saying is true, but it's by design. It's by design. And if you remember Biden, even during his primary in 2020, when he was asked about what was he going to do for the black community, he literally told the black community that we need to get with the migrants or the Latinos coming in.
Agreed.
The problem is not that they're quicker, it's not that or anything like that. It's because like you're saying, they're cheaper labor. They're cheaper labor and they're taking over. And that's if anybody again wants to think about what did Trump mean about taking taking black jobs, that's exactly what he's referring to. I literally see this thing happen in my city where the black guys are hustling on the corners and the migrants are doing all the work. And instead of educate, and like I said, this was by design from early in the 90s when blue collar work was taken out of the cities and taken out of the black communities. Somebody had to fill the void,
You mean the
and that's who
Flixbus?
they're bringing in to fill the void. And like I said, this whole debacle as far as they're taking jobs that we don't want, I know plenty of black men that are landscapers. I know plenty of black men that are carpenters. I know plenty of black men
But
that are
brother, you
plumbers,
kind of
and
double
they
talk.
can't
Like how you
find
said, I double talk.
jobs because
But you said a black job. There's no such thing as a black job. That's the funny thing. You saying first they
but
take down
they
jobs, and then
but
you say there's black
okay,
people that's
okay.
doing those
Question this though.
jobs.
No, there are such things as black
Question it.
jobs.
Question though. If they're being sent into black communities, whose jobs are they taking out of that community?
You have to define to me what's a black job, because I don't know what the
I
hell a
just
black job
defined
is.
it. I just defined it.
A black
If
job is any job
migrants
that
are
black men
Black people
decide.
don't do anything.
okay,
There's no specific
bro,
job that black people
you didn't
do
listen to
that
what I
other
said.
races
I
don't do.
said
That's what's not making any sense.
it's not about that. It's not what are jobs if migrants are coming into black communities, and they're getting jobs, then whose jobs are they getting? Whose jobs are they taking in that community?
That I understand what you're saying. I don't mean to be insulted, but it's kind of like it's kind of like
okay. I literally just said told you.
moronic question, because if you have a job, hold on. If you have a job, let's say we're interviewing for, right? If I have a job and I'm interviewing a job, I'm pretty sure we all grown men, at least 30 years old. We going for a job, you getting hired based upon your education and your work experience. So if you and if that's the framework where we're talking about as far as jobs, anybody can get that job. There's no such thing as a Mexican job or
Kofi,
how many
why
people.
are
How
black
many
people
black
mad
people
that
talk about
migrants
under
in
the
New York
table?
and
I don't
Chicago?
know. I don't work under the table. I work
You
where
don't
I
have to
get
work.
facts.
There's a
You don't
I
have to
Kofi,
don't
work
work
why
under
under
the
are
the
black
table.
table.
Democrats mad at migrants in Chicago and New York? Why are black voting Democrats mad at illegal immigrants in
Byron
Chicago and New
Donald,
York?
calm down, Byron
What is
Donald.
the
Calm down,
reason?
Byron
No,
Donald.
no, but
Calm
answer
down.
that question
We're not doing that, Byron
because
Donald.
we're going to the heart of exactly. You
You're
can't
doing
answer it
Byron Donald talk.
because they are taking the jobs, because they are taking the resources, and a lot of black people in these communities complain about that. Like,
Migrants
are you not listening to
pose
the
a threat
news?
to everybody. I live
No,
here in New
listen.
York, and it's a huge migrant influx, and they're hustling to do things, and they're draining resources. I get that. I would never say that's not a thing. But when you're saying black jobs or the famous Republican talking point, they're replacing us.
Oh, they definitely are,
It's
sir. They
If I
definitely
moronic
are.
have a
from the gate,
business,
because
if I have a
someone's going to kick
business in
me
my
out my job
community,
and give a Mexican my job.
No.
That makes no
right?
sense.
No, if I
Bro,
own a business in my community and I want to hire people in my community, I have black jobs because I believe in my people and I believe in employing my people. I have black jobs, and we need to have black jobs. We need to be able to hire our own people. If I'm
So
going to
who's
hire
preventing
somebody,
you from
it's going to
hiring your
be
own
someone black.
people? Again, that doesn't make no
I'm
sense.
about to
Right.
explain
That's
that
a black
if you
job.
let me.
We
If
need to
you're a
have
black
black
person,
jobs.
Let
it's
me
up to you
explain
to
it to you.
hire
Let me
black
explain it to you.
Brother, it's
Let me
C-Mac
explain it
still.
to
So
you.
go ahead, C-Mac. Go ahead, C-Mac.
I will explain it to you, Kofi, if you listen. For instance, if you have a migrant over here that actually got his documentation and he goes into business for himself, and as far as say if a city has minority contracts, he's able to bid for those minority contracts and bid them lower because he's hiring guys that are undocumented. So that right there is where, if anything, it doesn't matter if you have a black community, you're trying to hire black people, and you're well knowledgeable about the job or anything. If someone's
Okay, so
bidding
can I
lower
respond
than
to what you
you,
just said?
if
Because what you
can
just
I
said
finish
is
what I said?
problematic.
Can I
Okay,
finish?
go ahead.
So again, if that's just like, even for instance, that's just even on let's put it in personal terms. If you go and you need some work done in your house and you go talk to a black contractor, he gives you a price. And then you're like, oh well, let me go look around. And you go speak to somebody at Home Depot. He goes lower. Who are you gonna take? You're not worried about the value and the work at all. You're worried about the price.
Can I respond now?
Go ahead.
So two things that you said it sounds problematic to me from the gate. Number one, you says they're bidding for contracts, which makes me I don't want to put words in your mouth, make it seem like you have a problem with them bidding for contracts. If we bidding for government contracts, everyone does the bid, right? Fine, they do a lower bid. That's just the nature of business, and especially when you're trying to get a contract, right? So you either have it sounds like you have a problem with the system and not a problem with them. That's one. Two.
No,
Hold
okay,
on. I'm
go ahead.
talking. Hold on. I'm talking now. Two. You're saying that they're hiring illegal immigrants where they pay lower money. Now they should not be allowed to hire undocumented
documented workers. That's a problem. Again, it seems like y'all have a problem with the system, but it's lazy and you're doing low hanging fruit and you blaming the actual people. But when the system sounds like the system is broken, the system need to be revamped.
Business
So if
in
you're
general
saying
can be warfare. Business can be warfare, right? So hiring people or putting sanctions on a government, putting sanctions on a country, and that stops their business, right? That creates famine and hunger and all kind of shit, disrupts the economy.
yeah, I
Well,
get it, but I'm
Kofi,
talking about
I
him
we
doing
have to
locally
think in
how
terms of
immigrants
business more
are
than just
a threat
Kofi,
to the black community directly.
Kofi,
And based on what he says, it sounds like the system is allowing this cracks in the system that's allowing this. But you're saying, well, it's their fault.
Kobe, breathe
Go
for
ahead.
a minute, man. Breathe
But
for a
what
minute,
about the
because
Democrats?
at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, my problem is not with them. I mean, to be honest with you, I literally understand that if I was wearing their shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing. So, I mean, be honest, you're right. It is the system that I have a problem with. But again, but the only thing I have a situation with them is, instead of trying to beat us and actually take our jobs just to go lower, why don't you try to come with us and say together, hey, we're all bidding at least around this price range, and no, you're not going to get nobody's work unless you get around this price range, instead of just completely going way under the price range and just giving people work for crumbs. So that's my issue as
And
far as
That,
that's
on
the
their
thing with the
but that's
immigrants,
business. That makes no sense.
depressed
That's like
wages
me
because
go
it's
raiding
really
no no no
Walmart
no
and
no
burning
no no
Walmart
no
down because
but
they selling their
the reason
hardware
is
cheaper
not.
than mine because I got a hardware store.
No, it's not business, because the whole it's dirty business. And the reason it's dirty business is because at the end of the day, anybody that is actually born in America has a job, for official job, and went through the rights and everything like that, and they're actually trying to hire our own people. We have to hire people that's actually citizens and pay them actual pay, what the actual minimum wage is. Where these people, when they're hiring getting people to work for them, they don't have to pay them minimum wage because they're undocumented.
and that's the
Yeah,
thing about
exactly right. So
Democrats and
again, it's the
Republicans, right?
system. I think, and I feel this the
Correct.
same way
I mean,
about
I
the
agree.
fake
I agree.
the war on drugs. There's a lot of black people that got locked up for marijuana. Now, when here in New York, there's like, okay, you can open up a dispensary business. I think that
Thanks to
before
Joe
any
Biden.
contract,
Thanks to
any
Biden's
contract
94
that's to
crime
be
bill.
handed out,
We hold on.
must
We
be.
can't skip over that. Thanks to Joe Biden's 94 crime bill. All right, go ahead.
It doesn't
Donald
matter
Trump
if
and the
they're
Republican
Republicans
Party.
or Democrats, because the people that are running the country, the financial institution that has most of the money in this system that we're talking about, influences our politics. It influences the army, where it's going to go and do its foreign policy. These are the people that are controlling the Republicans and the Democrats. And we're in here talking about Republicans and Democrats, and not talking about our own people and how we're going to get our own interests and shit together, or at least talk about it from a point of view in which we have agency, in which we are making plans, plots, understanding things from a point of, even if we don't have agency, as like we're really doing our thing as a people, we need to be at least acting like it. We're in here playing political games and shit, talking about Biden and Trump, siding with Biden and Trump, believing in Trump or Biden. That's ridiculous. What are we talking about,
Amen.
family?
No,
Amen.
we need to keep
Yeah,
talking
I
about
agree.
that. I totally disagree with
There
you on
you
that.
go.
Nope.
There
We
you
need
go.
to
There
keep
you
talking
go.
about siding with Trump. Because I'm gonna tell you why. The black vote, if the Democrats win after all this neglect, with all these illegals coming in, the black vote is done. We're not needed no
That
more.
Trump is
We gave
allowing
these Democrats 50 years of our vote and got nothing for it.
Right.
The illegals got
more
something,
life.
LGBT got something, white feminists got something, Ukrainian immigrants from the Russia war came over here, got something,
Jews
yet the
got
Negro
something. Jews
population
got
got
something.
absolutely nothing.
So that's
So
a
if you want
strategy.
to be useless, and because black people never hold anyone accountable, we are the only race of people that doesn't hold anybody politically accountable. And you're going
Let
to
me ask
give
you a
these
question.
Democrats
So
another
that's
win.
a
The
strategy, right?
Let
smartest
me ask you
thing
a
for
question.
the
What did
African
the Trump
American community
administration
to
do for
do
you?
is
Yeah,
vote
we
for Donald
should
Trump
demand more.
and
What did the
punish
Trump
these
administration do
Democrats
for you?
and tell these Democrats that if you want another Trump, then you
Can you
better
please
listen
tell
to
us
us.
what did
If
the
you
Trump
don't want another
administration did
Trump,
for
then you
you?
better listen to us. That's what an intelligent black community would do.
Can you
A
please tell us what
non-intelligent
Trump
black
did for
community
you?
would do is keep voting Biden and get
I
nothing,
can.
Can
while
you please
everyone else
tell us
moves
what
ahead of
Trump
them.
did for you since you're so
Doesn't
emotional
have to
and
do
you
anything. No,
I
no, no,
what
can.
no,
did
no, no,
Trump
no. He
did for
doesn't. No,
you?
What?
no. Okay, okay. I can answer that question. Trump does not have to do anything for the black community specifically. Do you know why?
Okay,
I'm about to
he
answer
didn't
the
do
question
shit.
because
He didn't
black
do shit.
men
You're
are
just a
so
tool. You're a
politically
tool.
emotional
You're
and so
everything that you
politically
saying the Democrats are.
not
You're a tool.
intelligent that they don't know how to talk to
Bro,
both
I
sides
asked you, what did
and come
Trump
up
do
with
for
a
you?
black
It's just a
agenda.
protest vote.
What
What did
black
Trump
men
do for
do
you?
is like you is call other black people coons
What
for
did
even
Trump do
trying
for you?
to
I'm asking you a
negotiate. I'm
question.
answering the question. I just said he
You're
doesn't
not
have to do
answering the
anything.
question. Answer the
And
question.
I'm
What did
telling
Trump
you
do for
why.
you?
Because black men are not intelligent enough to talk to both political
All you
parties.
doing is
So the
being a
Republicans
coon talking
look at
about how
black people
bad
and
black
say this.
people are.
Let
That's
me tell
all
you.
you're
The
doing. All you do is
Republicans look at you
demonizing black
Negroes and
people.
say this.
We don't need
Barack
white
Obama
racists when we got
ignored
coons.
you, and he was your first black president.
What
So
did
guess
Trump
what?
do for
Now
you?
I'm going to
What did
ignore you
Trump do for you?
because you guys hold nobody. I
What
just
did
told you
Trump
doesn't have
do for
to.
you? Trump
I'm
didn't do
telling
nothing
you,
for you.
I'm answering the question. Doesn't have to do anything for black people. Now, for me
Well,
personally,
why vote for
yes,
him?
I live in Texas.
Exactly. You sound
I
like a
want the
fool.
border closed. I'm answering your question. I want the border
Nobody
closed.
votes for people
I
that
want
does
to
nothing
end these
for them.
wars
Let me
overseas
answer that.
because I don't want no war
Trump
with Russia.
started wars.
So I'm looking at it from a
Trump
foreign
Let
almost
me answer
policy
started
that.
wars.
perspective.
What are you
Trump is
talking
better
about?
than Biden.
What war did Biden start?
Are
You're
you
like an
not seeing the
automatic rifle
escalation
full of
towards
lies.
war in
You're an
Russia? Do
automatic
you
rifle
think the
full of lies.
billions of
What war
dollars
did
towards
Biden start?
Ukraine and pulling you?
Bro,
I'm
listen.
answering, bro. Can you?
Okay.
Are
I'll
you
listen.
able to
I'll listen.
listen? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
letting you
I'll
know.
listen. I'll
Are
listen.
you not seeing the escalation towards war in Ukraine? Are you not seeing the United States passing billions of dollars in the Ukraine war? And we're even trying to
Okay,
emit
hold on.
Ukraine
So
into
hold on. I want to
NATO. Do you know
understand.
how
Hold on.
dangerous that
I mean,
is?
it's true
Hold
that
on.
he sent I want to understand what you're
Do
saying.
you know how
I
dangerous
want
that
to
is?
know. So, are you blaming Biden for the war in Ukraine? That's what I want to know. I know what you're saying.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
let me
absolutely,
respond to that. Let me
absolutely.
respond to that.
Yes,
You don't know what you're
absolutely.
talking about. Let me respond to that. You don't know what you're talking about. The reason why I say you don't know what you're talking about because you're blaming Biden for that because Biden had nothing to do with that. Vladimir
Let me
Putin,
answer
Donald
your
Trump's
question,
best
Kofi.
friend, wanted Ukraine back because Ukraine's to be the part of Soviet Union. So since Soviet Union and
This is
Ukraine
a lot.
borders each other, and Ukraine is a NATO, is trying to be NATO friendly, Putin invaded Ukraine. So you're
Point out the
saying
speech
that the
where Vladimir
aggressor,
Putin said that.
so that's Joe Biden's fault that
I can
Putin
answer this.
invaded Ukraine. That's one.
Absolutely,
Number two,
absolutely, because Putin said over and
fine.
over
You
again,
can have that. You can have that
bro,
irrational stance.
Putin said over
Number
and
two,
over
hold
again,
on.
I
Number
will
two,
not
hold
accept
on.
NATO and Ukraine into NATO. Do you know why? Because if
Ukraine
Ukraine
is not a
joins
part of
NATO,
NATO.
NATO
Ukraine
can
is
now
NATO
build
friendly.
anti-nuclear missiles on the border. The United States will never stand for Russia to ally with Mexico or Canada and some Soviet Union and build nuclear weapons
Again,
on the border. No
So
nation
what
you're
does
not
would.
that have
showing
to
us
do
the
with
So
black
why
breadcrumbs.
would
people in the
Where
Russia?
are
United
the
States?
breadcrumbs of
What?
Joe Biden being responsible for
Right.
Vladimir Putin
So
invading, being the aggressor? You're not leading us to
Because
those
the
breadcrumbs.
United States keeps telling the Russians that the
Right.
Ukraine is going to be in NATO. Putin kept saying that this is an existential threat if Ukraine joins NATO.
Okay.
Like, do you
okay,
So
so
listen
then
we're
to
let me
Putin?
let
Listen,
me
so
ask
he
this:
we're
says that over and
responsible
over
for
again.
another man's
if
actions
these things are
because
the
they're our
case,
allies.
if these things
That's a
are the
very weak
case, and
argument.
you have a black think tank, if these things are the case, what would your black think tank that represents 40 million people, black folks in this country, what would they be advising us to do if all of these things are happening? These global things are happening. These national things are happening. What would be our strategy? What would our think tank, our best thinkers, or hopefully our best thinkers, would advise us to do about these global activities that are going on? Because we're not really watching these global activities, I think, well enough. That's
No, we're
only
not.
one
We're not.
aspect. We need to follow that dollar, that petro fiat currency, and that petrodollar, and these BRICS alliances, and the use of watch this, of how they're using the yuan to make purchases. Other countries are making purchases. It's already starting where they're starting to use local currencies, and they're starting to use the yuan to make finalized transactions instead of the petrodollar. That means that BRICS is actually going into place. The war is important to know as a political move, not what y'all talking about. You're not even seeing the whole bigger picture to me about what that war
I mean,
represents.
that's a different conversation. What you're saying is
Yeah,
absolutely
that is a
right.
different conversation.
But what he's doing, he's trying
Speaking
to
facts.
blame somebody for another person's action. We're talking about nations. That's like me saying if me
and Dynas as friends, and another person was probably going to attack Dynas, and I said, you better not attack Dynas. And that person attacks Dynas, so I blame Dynas. That's fucking stupid.
Bro, I listen to
Wrong
Putin.
individuals.
Putin said it's a red line if Ukraine joins NATO.
Let me pass the Koja. Koja, go ahead, unmute yourself, Koja. Koja, unmute yourself. Koja, going once, going twice.
Say something, please.
Koja, unmute yourself. Is that you, Delroy?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Delroy.
Kofi, man, you are something else.
Thank you.
Did you ever study the history of Ukraine and Russia?
What did I get wrong, brother? What did I get wrong? Tell me.
Well, let me just tell you, it's a little tinsy bit. That's a little tinsy bit thing. In 2014, you go back before that, but in 2014, Russia and NATO came to an agreement that NATO agreed to, and NATO, is controlled by the United States, that there will be no further movement, right, of a country that want to join NATO on the Russian border. That's the red line, and they will not accept it. And they say, okay, no problem, right? NATO said no problem, right? And
what year was this? 2014.
2014, but this has been going on before that. But 2014, they came to an agreement, right? That no more further movement to its border. They have enough NATO countries around Russia border. So Ukraine was the last straw, right?
So who was in charge? I'm sorry, because I want to get a little bit of historical context. So who was in charge, or who was leading Russia at that time?
That doesn't matter. I don't even know how that's relevant.
It doesn't matter. I'm asking a question. You don't tell me what doesn't matter. We're talking about history. You don't know anything about
it. The reason I'm saying it's not relevant because you're not listening to what the brother's saying.
I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm asking for more context. I'm asking for more.
One mic. Go ahead, Delaware. Please finish, Delaware.
Right. So this was an agreement that they agreed upon. No more moving to their border, and they throw that out the door and say, nope, we're going to do that because they want to have full control of Russia, right? They want to break Russia up. None of it worked, as you could see. None of it worked. Russia got stronger, right? So that's what happened. So that's why Putin said no way. And then in the Donbass,
why would Putin say no way?
The Donbass.
When did Putin say no way?
What do you mean? When did Putin say no way?
Because no one wants to. I'm asking you a very vital question. The reason why y'all don't want you to answer it because it's just going to prove my point. During 2014, are we talking about Mikhail Gorbachev? What are we talking about?
No, it's not. No, man. This is recent.
Recently, we're talking about Putin, the dictator. We're talking about Putin, the dictator. Yes or no? See, there you go. I get interrupted. Here we go again. I get interrupted because I'm breaking your MAGA bullshit.
Kofi, it's not even your turn. It's Delroy's turn. What are you talking about? Go ahead, Delroy.
Kofi, you got to let me finish speak, man. Okay? First of all, I'm a registered Democrat. I voted Democrat most of my life. Okay? So let's just forget that bullshit, right? Now, like I said, what I'm saying is public record, right? You can look it up. It's public record. They came to an agreement that no more movement towards their border, no more NATO country on their border, right? Whether Putin, you want to call him a dictator or not, that's irrelevant. This is an agreement that NATO and Russia came to came with. It was an agreement. It was an official agreement, right? And they did. So Putin said, no, it's not going to happen. Not only that, the ethnic Russians in the Donbass area of Ukraine, they are ethnic Russian, right? Ukraine military was killing them, right? And they were begging Russia and Putin to step in. For 8 years, they begged. As a matter of fact, they were pissed at him. They were pissed at Putin and Russia for taking so long. These are Ukrainians, but they're ethnic Russians, Right? This is what's going on. So this is why this war happened. But NATO wanted this. They wanted this. They thought that the 20,000 sanction they put on Russia would have brought them down. But Putin and Russia planned for this. They planned for about 10 years. They knew this was going to happen. They absolutely knew it was going to happen. Right? So that's what's going on. That's what I wanted to say.
And Donis, I think you
And
should
I'm going
read
to say
the
that
Monroe
doesn't matter.
Doctrine
Just like it
for
doesn't matter if
context
Putin is a dictator. Well, I'm
for
saying
the
that whole
group
NATO
there.
shit also don't matter.
Well,
So
hold
there
on.
we go.
So,
That's what
Kofi,
I wanted to say.
do you know what the Monroe Doctrine is? So the
Well,
United States has the Monroe Doctrine.
T. Let me pass it to Koja. Go ahead, Koja.
Can you hear
Koja,
me?
I could barely hear you. It's muffled.
Oh my days! One
You
second.
call on your Obama phone. Call back in on you just call on your Obama phone. Call back
Hold
in.
on, hey, Donis, it's pivotal. I talk
Call
about
on
the
your Trump
Monroe
rate
Doctrine.
phone. Call on the Trump rate phone.
Let me pass the DMV Pat. Go ahead, DMV Pat. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, just to expand on the whole Russia thing, the whole thing is about the collapse of the USSR. When the USSR collapsed and what's his name, Boris Yeltsin became president, he opened the country up to the West. So all the state businesses, they got privatized, and Western multinationals came in and bought everything, everything that was controlling the resources. And when Putin finally got elected president, they thought he was going to continue because Putin was their guy. Everybody praised him, and then he just turned everything around. He's like, "Nah, we don't want this," and he kicked them out. And he nationalized everything. And since then, he's been like, they've been trying to get him out.
Well, he didn't.
Yeah, because he killed all his political opponents as well as journalists. But to this panel, it doesn't matter because Trump loves Putin, so they're going to love Putin. So this is a stupid-ass argument.
Donis, the Monroe Doctrine is a doctrine the United States adopted that doesn't allow any European countries to establish any bases in the Western Hemisphere. This is why in the Cold War, the United States and Cuba was such at odds. Why? Because when the Cuba was aligned with the Soviet Union, the United States thought it was an existential threat for the Soviet Union to put any missiles in Cuba that could be aimed at the United States. Now, take this with the NATO situation. Russia has the same concern. If Ukraine joins NATO, the same way if Cuba joins the Soviet Union, then what will happen is NATO will then install missiles on the Russian border. The Russians see that as an existential threat, the same way the United States would. And if it happened to America, if Russia had any agreement with Mexico or Canada, guess what the United States would do? We will be in war with Mexico and Canada. So this is what these brothers are ignoring because they don't understand foreign policy, and they're hypocrites because they will not apply the same standard in the United States. They will then be supportive of war against Mexico and Canada if Russia was doing the same thing that NATO was doing to Russia.
Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah, it's called the Monroe Doctrine. Look it up. And this is exactly why that war is going on. Putin sees it as a red line that NATO is going to admit Ukraine into it.
But brother, that's what I'm saying. All this is public document. You could look it up. It's public document. It's not hidden.
Yeah, and what the media does, and it's sad that a lot of Americans, especially African Americans, fall for this propaganda. We knew that the United States lied us in the war under Bush to go to war with Iraq when Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11 and had no weapons of mass destruction. Yet the media lied to the people. But now all of a sudden the media is telling the truth about what's going on with Russia, but not explaining the history to the American people about the Cold War, about the Soviet Union, about the role of NATO. They just act like Russia out of nowhere decides to just be a maniac and he decides to just go on a killing spree against Ukraine. That's not the case.
Well, you need to listen to Scott Ritter. Listen to Scott Ritter, a former Marine weapons inspector. Listen to him and listen to what he has to say about Russia and the entire United States military.
All right,
Dennis.
guys, let me pass the Mafia Rose. Go ahead, Mafia Rose.
Yes. Okay. So I just wanted to just add a little bit to what they're saying about what the situation is with Ukraine and Russia. So during World War II, Ukraine sided with the Nazis, and they invaded into Russia and killed over like 1 million Russian ethnic Russian citizens. And so when you bring it back to 2014, what the guy was talking about, so what happened was they overthrew, so in Ukraine they over because the Ukrainian people are ethnically Russian people. So but basically what happened was in 2014 they overthrew the democratically elected leader at the time, and they installed somebody, a Nazi sympathizer, which is the guy who is running the place now. So basically, they was plotting and planning, and obviously they did not allow Ukraine into NATO. But basically, what they did, they're using Ukraine as an invasion point to kind of weaken Russia. So when they overthrew the democratically elected government back in 2014, NATO started operating. Matter of fact, what's his name? Joe Biden and his family were the ones like uh, um, specifically had a lot of dealings, a lot of shady dealings too. I don't really want to talk about it on
His
YouTube, but
all over it.
now people could look it up. A lot of like criminal shit with you know uh, um so I don't want to get too deep into that. So basically
But
that's what the
relate it back to
situation
us
was.
though.
So they started getting more closer to Russian border,
Right.
and which is supposed to be against the treaty of the NATO not supposed to
It's
move
treaty.
any closer towards the Russian border,
So
specifically Ukraine, because Russia was invaded through Ukraine back in I think it was World War II,
this this,
and
this is
and
a great
their
world
people were
history class,
massacred.
but can you relate this back to us? I can. And what I would say is that Russia means to me and to many of us is an ally, and that if they are an ally and they begin the more states that begin to ally with Russia in the continent of Africa, you know what? Believe it or
They,
not, the more we're in jeopardy here in the United States, because I have a theory that we are all in one nigga bag. And that bill that they passed, HR 7311, that I don't want to call him a coon. I don't know him that well, but Gregory Meeks, who's a congressman and represents the Queens there somewhere in Queens, New York, right, wrote a bill on the foreign committee that, malign Russian, countering Russian malign effects of propaganda, something like that. He wrote this bill, it was passed. And the bill basically says that the United States will now be able to go into whatever department is going to be able to go into Africa to monitor extractive industries and propaganda, Russian propaganda on the continent of Africa. That's a bill. And it names Africans in the diaspora in the U.S. will also be monitored for Russian propaganda. That's only one thing. That's
they
just
all
one
they
thing.
already been monitored. You know the brother from St. Louis, the older gentleman. They already monitor him. They invaded his house and his
Oh,
family,
yeah.
and I don't remember his name.
He's Uhuru is the
Yes,
organization, I
yeah.
think,
Well, he say he's in cahoots with Putin and Russia, so they already doing it.
which is some bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But then what do we do? What's our move? As Francis Cresswell's say, we're on a chessboard. What's our move? We talking about politics with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Is that our move? That's our chess move?
Exactly.
What are we doing, family?
And you know what, man? Just to bring this around, and this conversation really stand off of what I think Trump would be better than Biden. But we have to understand that I think this is why Trump is being targeted so high because of this U.S. foreign policy position. The United States I would say, yeah, the United States, the military industrial complex, the small hats, they all make a lot of money from United States continue foreign wars overseas, foreign intervention. And when you have a president red pilling the country, talking about we are going to mind our own business, we don't need to be the policeman in the world, and we're going to make peace with Russia, it's not a bad thing, but a good thing that the United States make peace with Russia. What U.S. politician is saying that? That is a threat to the entire structure. And not even a lot of Republicans is getting down with that. This is another reason why Trump is really hated, man, is really because his foreign policy. All this stuff about him being a racist, this is for the bottom feeder. This is stuff for the low IQ for us to fight about so we don't see the greater picture. And then we
What is
put Biden back in office, keeps the border open.
right?
We keep these foreign wars going. The American dollar continues to go in decline. All this, and not only that, we are passing LGBT laws.
Right.
We have a liberal Supreme Court. All of this,
Can I ask you a
nothing good.
question? Can I ask you a question? What is Donald Trump's policy on Africa Command with the 20, maybe I think some 20 bases on the continent of Africa? What is
It's
Donald Trump's about
more than that. It's more than that.
27?
Donald Trump spoken that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not saying that Donald Trump foreign policy is transformative. It's not. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I don't think he's gonna come in and start pulling out U.S. bases from around the world. I think what he's gonna do is probably like stop some conflicts, especially with the one in Russia and Ukraine. Maybe form some alliances with some governments that we don't get along with, like he did with North Korea. But I don't think he's gonna be that guy. But what's good about it is it's starting the process of us having politicians winning elections and speaking from an anti-war perspective, because then the next person who runs can probably piggyback that and be a more sophisticated Trumpian figure like a Ron Paul and say, hey, we're going to pull all the United States, foreign bases from around the world and pull it back home. But we have to have a starting point, because if Trump loses, it's just only going to expand.
I agree with you with that one, bro.
Hey, we'll go at
I think you underestimate how deep the rot is, though. This is not somebody gets into office and then they just write legislation. I mean, they just make executive orders and say we're going to do this and that. It's way deep. It's too deep for somebody. The whole system has to collapse, basically.
Well, I agree, and I think Trump's biggest enemies, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's once he starts, if Trump becomes this anti-war candidate or semi-anti-war, his biggest opposition, unfortunately, will be a lot of Republicans. It'll be the Lindsey Grahams, a lot of these war-mongering rhinos who's still in office, who like
Who,
Trump's domestic policy but hate his foreign policy. They
yeah, but
are going to be a major problem.
whoever controls the industrial military complex that make all these weapons, that's make all this money from war. They want the war.
Right.
And that's why they're siding against Trump. And see, this is the high level conversation we need to have with black people, because we have these low, it's just racism, white supremacy. Like, we got to talk about the bigger things, like what's going on in foreign policy, world politics, different policies that affect everyone. Like, we're so caught up in rhetoric, like, Trump said, S-hole countries. It's just, we got to expand beyond this, because a lot of black people aren't understanding is that their emotions are being manipulated to support things that's not only detrimental to them, but detrimental to the future of the country and the world. And they really are not able to look outside of that
So
box
does the
due
future
to
of the
their emotional
country,
hatred.
so does the future of the country, how do we fare as 40, 50 million people, black folks in this country, the future of the country? How do we fare as a people? And the projections that they're making that we'll be at zero
Brother, I
zero
honestly
wealth,
think the
we'll be at zero wealth in about 20 or 20 something, 30 years as a people.
I don't believe that, bro. That's nonsense.
It looks nice.
Well, I don't know where they're getting the projections or how they're calculating or whatever, but I do know what I see, and what I see is that we're doing worse overall as a people as time goes on. It gets worse for us.
They could calculate what they want to calculate. That's bullshit. Don't believe it.
Okay, but do you agree that we are doing worse off as a people that today than we were in the 70s?
Well, what I can say, man, if black people want to engage in politics seriously, like, I know this sounds like I'm being a partisan, but I'm being honest. if we, like I said, if the Democrats are quote unquote fighting for our votes and speak for us, and we never hold them accountable, meaning I'm telling you, if Biden wins, we have to understand the implications of this. We know he's going to get 3 Supreme Court justices. It's probably going to be a bunch of liberals, so they're going to have their justices. However many illegal immigrants they allow in to become citizens and become Democrats also helps out the Democrats. All of their
Do
liberal,
you
social, LGBT transit
right,
help
right?
them out.
Do you think
Black
politics is
people,
going to solve the problems of
yeah,
black
no,
folks
no,
in this country?
but what I'm saying is that once they get all those things and they got their people in place, what other use do they have for black people? That's it. We are done permanently, politically, in my opinion. If black people don't vote for Trump and let these Democrats know that, wow, these people, we actually don't have their
We're
vote.
done
Wow, all that
politically.
pandering, ignoring, we sat there and lost.
So,
Wow.
what does being done
They will sit
politically?
down in the table and talk with us seriously.
What
You
does being
have
done
to punish them.
politically relate to economics for black folks? Being
So,
done, you said we're
oh,
done politically if we
okay.
go the Biden way. And so by
Yeah,
going the
done
Trump way,
politically.
we're not done politically. And how does that translate into us doing better as a people?
Now we have leverage. So what it shows is that the black community is no longer a community who you can just predict that they're going to vote the certain way they are, and you can ignore them and you can pander. Now you have
But
to
you're not
actually sit
translating
down.
that
No,
into
I'm about to answer
economics,
your
though.
question. Like every other community, you can sit down with the black community, and the black community can show policy positions just like Ice Cube did with both sides, but the black community crucified him simply because he talked to the Republicans. No. Now they're going to see that this is not a goofball community politically. This is a serious community that is willing to institute political punishment if you ignore them. And then, yes, now we could talk about economic platforms, social platforms, instead of them
What do you
coming.
mean? You're separating it? You're separating the politics from the economics?
No,
That
no,
seems
no,
like
I'm
what
not.
you.
But see, what you're
So you said we
understanding is
sit
the,
down and we talk and we're
yeah,
serious, right? So
yeah.
what are we talking about and where's the economic part? So you're talking about the
It's
economic part. Go ahead.
anything, man. I'm being general, man. Whatever black economic issues we have, we could talk. But I'm just saying the reason why this conversation doesn't happen is because the Democrats already know that they have your vote, and the Republicans know that they will never get your vote. So there's simply no point even talking to black
So
people in a
but if you
serious
can't
manner.
relate if you cannot bridge the gap between politics and economics, then we're just playing political games
No,
because
no,
I'm
no.
not
That's
hearing.
how you bridge the gap. I don't think you're
But
understanding me. That's how you
no,
bridge
I'm not.
the gap.
I'm waiting
You
for you to
punish the
talk about the
Democrats and have a
economic
serious
part of it.
conversation.
I'm waiting for you to bridge the gap and into the
I
economic
just
part.
did. No, no, no.
You didn't. No, you
Are you not
didn't. You said
understanding?
whatever
You
economic
vote
things we
for
do.
Trump, and then you have a serious conversation now that the Democrats are desperate because they need our vote
You
to
have a
continue
serious
winning. So
conversation
now you
about
have a
what?
serious conversation.
About what?
Anything, man. I'm being general,
Anything?
man. I'm not. Yeah, I'm being general. Yes, I'm being general.
Okay.
Like I
So
said,
economics,
economic,
though, right? You
social
have a
issues,
conversation
whatever.
about economics, right?
Okay.
Well, okay. So what? Okay. So for me, I think you need to go to the woodshed. They told me when I went to the open mic, I'm singing Moody's Mood, and they kind of messed up though. But I'm open mic singing at the jazz thing, and I finished my little solo with there I go. Right afterwards, the old OG said, "You need to go to the woodshed." I said, "The woodshed? I never heard that before." That means you need to study more, brother. You need to learn more about.
No, I don't. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying because you're
No,
not
you're not. But
comprehending.
you're not
No, no,
expounding on it.
you're not comprehending at all.
No,
So
I am
just like every
comprehending.
other
You're
community
saying
gets
whatever,
something because
whatever,
they
whatever
speak
when
with
it comes
both
to the
sides,
economics.
the black community. Are you, bro? It's like, bro, is your brain functional? No, no, no.
Okay,
Like seriously,
I'll
are you
listen. Go
functionally
ahead.
listening to what I'm saying?
Let me listen to what you're
When
saying.
you're
Go ahead.
taken seriously as a community, like the
Yes.
LGBT community, the
Okay.
Latino, the Israeli Jews, you can produce policy positions to whatever party. Okay, that's why when the Democrats and the Republicans go to different groups, they don't pander. They don't go to the Latinos with burritos and dancing. They talk about policies and they get what they want.
Okay.
Black people can
So,
do
what
the
are the policies
same
around things that
thing.
will build our economics? What are those
I just say
policies?
it doesn't. we that could be anything, man. We
That's
could
the
come up
part
with anything.
where I'm listening
Talking
and
in
I
general.
understand you
No,
clearly.
I'm
But
not
if I
having
get to
that
that part, you
conversation because you're
Okay,
not understanding that conversation.
so hold on. I think we're just Shaw. We're going in circles now. So just tell T what we should discuss when we go sit down with Donald Trump. Go ahead.
So I think that we should be clear about a strategy in terms of how we're going to build businesses. The bank supports that the small banks that we have already, black banks that we have, and that we need to say we need monies for business loans, for small business loans, or whatever we're doing. Like this, I'm gonna say business loans. We need this amount of money that will trickle down from the government, are earmarked for our communities for starting small businesses. And also we need monies to be able to compete for big contracts that are in some of, like, we're in these large cities and they have these contracts and we don't have the capacity to bid for these contracts, and there's money, there's these jobs that
Yeah,
are out there.
they
So
are
we need
companies here that bid for it and get the contracts.
Right, but there's not enough black businesses that are engaging in that, especially proportionate to the population in a place like New York.
I do.
I don't have a problem with what Shaw is saying, but what I'm trying to get Shaw to understand is that right now, no one looks at the black community as serious to sit down
Right.
and have the conversations. We are being pandered to because they understand that
Because we're
every election we are always going to vote Democrat. So if
yeah.
someone is always going to do something, then you don't have to do nothing for them.
I
So in order
understand,
to break that cycle, you have to do some type of punishment or show some type of consequence for you to be ignored. That's why I'm saying if you vote for Trump,
Yeah.
you then
but
punish the Democrats, and
but
then everyone can see that the black community actually, for the first time in 50 years, instituted some type of consequence. And then we can
I
say, as a bloc,
understand.
if you want to continue to get our vote,
I
implement these
understand, but
plans
when
that Shaw is
Republicans,
talking about.
but when the
That's what I'm
Republicans were
saying.
in power, when the Republicans were in power, and they know these Democrats and Republicans know what we need as a community, and when the Republicans were in power, the needs of our communities were not met, and
Because Shaw,
Shaw, we
when
don't
Trump,
talk to them.
hold on,
Shaw,
T,
come
hold on,
on.
one second, one second. But when Trump was in power, all our, I guess, leadership did was throw temper tantrums and say,
But
"Not my president, not my president, not my president."
don't
When
don't
they're
forget
not
Trump
serious.
said
but
don't forget Trump said he wanted to inject $500 billion. Don't forget he did say that out of his mouth.
Yeah, and black people went with the guy that said, "You don't vote for me, you're not black." So yeah, you're right.
Right, exactly.
Then
Trump
we
said
call
if
black folks
it's
other
too
coons
that
for even trying to work with him. So how is a community supposed to be taken seriously when they publicly attack their own on live TV for the world to see, calling their own people coons for
yeah.
working with the Republicans? How in the world can you take a
Exactly.
community like that seriously? You can't. So what do? Ignore them.
But the Democrats ignored Ice Cube. He wanted to speak to both. They ignored him. Trump was the one that talked to him.
there's
Ice
no
Cube.
consolation in that, though. There's no consolation in Ice Cube as a leader doing that. When you had Tavis Smiley had that
No one
contract with
said Ice
America,
Cube was a
big
leader.
conference,
Ice
he
Cube's
had
not a
all
leader.
the big political leaders at that conference back in 2005, I think, and they came up with recommendations of what, as a people, what we should be doing. What happened to that plan? What happened to implementing that contract with America?
Bro, we gotta change the black psyche to stop being so hysterical when an African American speaks with the Republicans, because as long as we keep shutting down these black folks, calling them coons, canceling them, there's no one's gonna ever take us seriously politically. Like,
Yeah.
we attack our own in favor of the Democratic Party. It's so ridiculous. We let the Democrats know we like, oh, we're gonna get this Negro back in line. Don't you worry, boss. And we attack them.
It
It's
doesn't
crazy.
matter whether it's
It's so
Democrats or
crazy.
Republican, though. I'm saying the Democrats ain't doing shit either, because if they were, we would be better off as a
Shaw,
community.
Shaw, if you're dealing with somebody who, no matter how badly you treat them, will never leave your side, never change, why in the world do you feel like you have to continue to do something nice for that person?
You're
If
making your point. You're arguing that point. All I'm saying is that we're going to have to do something other. And I agree with Philippe on this. we're going to have to do something other than the political system in our communities in order for us to secure our future. It's got to be more than politics. Politics is supposed to help or give aid to what we're doing ourselves.
But that's obvious. That's obvious. You're not
But
wrong
then
about
we're
that.
not doing any.
Yeah,
We're not.
I don't
Who's
agree with
we?
that at all.
We're not
Who's
doing enough.
but who's we? I mean, I have a black business. I have friends that have black business. I support them. They support me. You have a black business. I'm gonna support you. I mean, I don't understand what is the problem.
So the problem is that with the small black businesses that we have, it's not enough. Because we need larger businesses. We need
But
the
still,
poor
Then
black
we need to
businesses.
get intelligent politically, like every other group get, and get some capital, like
Hey,
every
guys,
other group.
we're gonna go ahead and close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Research for Peace.